Hey, what's good, Moody?
What's good? What's good?
We are back in our old stomping grounds after 2 weeks on
It,
Riverside. We are back on StreamYard.
yeah, it's good to experiment, test the waters, but it's like, from what you were telling me, it's way better over here. So let's just take the
Yeah,
smoother
there's
sailing.
pros
You know
and
what I'm
cons
saying?
on both sides. I wish there was a
Yeah.
better integration of like sending this stuff to like podcast services
hmm
because this is mostly like a
Constructive
video.
feedback. Constructive feedback.
Yeah,
Like
it's
we
mostly
could
a
still.
video. It's mostly a video, like platform here. But I mean, overall, I think StreamYard might be the stronger bet for what we need in our use case. And as you can see, we are no longer on the free trial. We decided to actually pay rent here, as
Yeah,
expensive as it may be, and we removed
we
this
moved in.
logo. So higher definition, 1080p, not that 720. Remove the watermarks. We're gonna glam this studio up a little bit, add some logos and some background stuff. So slowly but surely we coming along, and things are getting right around here. So that's a quick way to start the show. Let's start with these Sunday Percy's, and we could start with mine because mine's
Yeah.
more recent, or we could start with yours. I'm not sure what yours is. So
Start with yours. Yours is more exciting anyway.
okay, yeah. I mean, this is pretty much like I say it this way because obviously you could be like, oh, what about this word? What about that? What about this? And I'm like, the phrase of the year for 2024 is in all caps and as many exclamation points as you want. If you don't want an exclamation point, that's fine. Kendrick drop.
hmm
Because, man, the chokehold this man has on the music game this year
Yeah.
is none like other. None like it before. Like I I was just talking to my neighbor after just grabbing some breakfast, and I was telling him about the album, and I was like, he hasn't heard it yet, or maybe like one track or so. And I'm like, bruh, I don't even have notifications set on Twitter. The only person I have notifications set for Twitter is Kendrick. And it was after just like, earlier this year when he would just like release one
Yeah.
tweet randomly. And I'm like, all right, I gotta be like on this news time because he could literally drop whenever. So it's yesterday. I'm on Twitter. I'm scrolling through for news. Actually, I'm listening to Commander's press conference of Dan Quinn, before Sunday's game against the Cowboys. I see a little one on my notification dot on Twitter, and I'm like, I don't get notifications on Twitter. I wonder what this could be. Click it. It says Kendrick Lamar 5 minutes ago, and I'm like, okay. Click on it. GNX. Click on it. Opens up the link where it gives you all of the available services where you can listen to this. YouTube
hmm
Music wasn't on there from the get, so I just clicked on Spotify. Um, then I see 12 tracks. I'm like, is this out or is this like
Yeah. I
is
just
this
out of
out or is
nowhere.
this early? Is this like pre-downloads or like
hmm
pre
Letting you
pre
know. Yeah.
yeah, letting you know. And I'm like, it says November 22nd is the release date. This is where I come out to find out that Spotify for the paid version or the free version completely sucks because when you press play on it, I don't know this because I don't use Spotify. If
Yeah.
you don't pay for Spotify and you click on an album and
Yeah.
you press play, it doesn't even play the album.
Hmm.
It just plays the artist and a randomness of his songs. So like
That's
I press play and
yeah.
it played Money Trees
All right. That's weird. That doesn't
because
help
they're
at
like
all.
they want to like if you want to listen to the album in full and in sequenced order, you need to actually pay for Spotify. And I'm like, if that isn't musical oppression,
That's wild because I
that
use
is
Spotify. I didn't
wild.
know. I've used Spotify for years, like at least 2015. So
I'm sure you
I
pay
had no
for it.
recollection of that. Yeah, I pay for it, so I have
Yeah.
no recollection of that. That's crazy. Like,
They don't even you can't even listen to the album. You have to listen to it as like a radio station. Regardless, it confirmed my belief
yeah,
that this is a real album that
yeah,
is
yeah.
out, and I was able to find it. Boy, man, this guy is on another level. I to look at the track list before even listening to the album, and you're like, all right, what song is it? Is the broccoli song?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Reincarnated. I'm a stargazer. You know, you look at the
Yeah,
track
yeah.
list and you try to peg which one that is, and then there's a song called Reincarnated. You're like, okay, that's gotta be it. My nigga, track 2?
Track 2, Squabble
Track
Up.
2?
Yeah.
And then just to show you how ahead of the curb this nigga, to cut it off at where he cut it off in the
Yeah.
Not Like Us video, you could never, unless like you are like a super like music connoisseur, you could never predicted the next beat and drop after that with that Debbie Deb sample. Like, this dude is amazing. The Tupac flip, TV off.
I listened to it once through so far, and I did count it because, like you said, it was 12 tracks, 45 minutes, and off top it was 8 out of 12 immediately. Like 8 out of the 12 songs, I was like, oh yeah, I fuck with this heavy. And also, since it was so new, you know, I listened to it, like you sent it to me, and it was like the album was out for like an hour basically when I listened to it, so there's no lyrics breakdown or anything like that. But I was trying,
lyrics,
you know,
no credits.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no credits, no nothing. So I was, you know, I had my ear turned on. I had it turned up. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew I was like trying to catch all these bars like off top. And like, yeah, but we got 2 SZAs in there. We got Baby Keem. Do we hear Baby Keem twice? I think he was on, I forget what track 10
Baby
was.
Keem's on there.
Who is that?
It's a
Is
lot.
that just
Like, the only real mainstream person is SZA. Everybody else is LA.
Yeah, SZA's definitely on there twice. So okay, I mean, it could just be another dude that like. And I knew that was also evident that it was heavy LA, you know,
It's the
centric,
most
you know,
LA
theme.
sound. It's a weird thing to say because Kendrick is so LA, but like
Yeah.
this is like an LA sounding, like
Yeah.
West Coast bops and all that.
And then also just theory once again, because GNX Grand National Experimental, the car that he bought, that's the car that his dad owned when he was born. So just knowing that it's an 80s car and hearing those samples, like you were saying, I'm just like, oh yeah, he is flipping the shit out of all of this. Like,
yeah.
And then the cherry on top, because you know, he obviously he don't got to, because we just got it in the Drake beef. But the most I forget, it might be TV off, probably. But when he go mustard, you just know. Because I was like, even at the first beat, I'm like, this is a mustard beat. I was already hearing it. I'm like, this is mustard. And then he was like, no, let's turn it up, nigga. Like, basically. So I was like, okay, hell yeah. But for sure, I'll give it right now immediate rating. Man, he just made it so digestible and everything. A minus. I need to listen to it more because obviously albums can grow on you. I'm not saying that this is not an A plus. Maybe I know I don't have the sharpest ear, so let me go ahead and catch it. You know, listen to it 2 more times, look at some lyrics and shit, catch what he's actually saying. All right, but yeah, he got a stranglehold. I agree.
No, I mean, that took up my whole day yesterday. Like, I listened to it. So just on my own, probably 4, 5 times. Like, I listened to like off rip from like noon to about 4 o'clock. It was just on.
Yeah.
And then then I was waiting for a lot of it from my, you know, all my favorite, you know, hip hop YouTube content creators, whatever, to like come out with their reactions. I watched Fantano, listen to his joint. I listened to Open Mike Eagle. It's literally was 12 hours. From 12 to 12, I pretty much had the entire album on. So like it was throughout the entire day. So I probably got up to like through my own personal listens. Near the end of the night, I was just kind of getting to the, you know, the main tracks that I was just like, I just need to hear the song again without like context of the full album. Close to 10.
Okay.
Close to 10. But man, like, dude, like, hey now, bro, this dude, when he says the Black Noah, I just strangled me a goat. What? What? Oh my God. And then bro, the TV off, like it's funny because the first time I listened to it, like I didn't really pick up on the beat switch. I thought it was
Yeah.
just like a different song, right? Like so when I went back and I just clicked on TV off, because I remember him saying TV off in the lyrics, and I'm like, all right, I just want to hear that mustard part again, right?
Hmm.
And when it didn't happen in the beginning, I'm like, did I click on the wrong song? Because again, I didn't
Yeah.
pick up on the first. I wasn't
On the
looking at
beat
the
snap. Yeah. On the
I
beat
wasn't
switch.
looking at the track, the time lapse of like this was the same track. And so when that happened the first time, there's a thing that I do, especially when I'm listening to music on my headphones, where like I just gotta like throw my phone down and just start like cooling that joint off. If something is too fire, it's just like, bro, cool this phone down, cool whatever I'm listening to, cool it down, because this shit is too hot right now.
Yeah.
Like,
The,
and I don't do that. I don't do that off of like the first two songs of an album. I'm like, but you got to hit me at where he hit me. It was like that was by track 7, track 8. And I was like, all
yeah.
right, nigga, like this shit, you got to cool this shit down. So
Hmm.
shout out to Kendrick. I was just telling my neighbor, I was like, man, I'm more hyped for this halftime show than I am for this game.
Yeah. I'm glad that you segued there just because my very last thought that I wanted to say was TV off. When I also heard it, I was like, oh, this is playing at Super Bowl. This is
Dude,
definitely on the track list at Super Bowl, because
squabble up.
you need to push it. Yeah, you need to either drop directly after Super Bowl like Usher did,
Yeah.
or you're gonna have the lead in to build your Super Bowl halftime show anyway, because everybody's just gonna be watching the game regardless. But like you literally just said, you are more hyped for the show than the game.
Mm-hmm.
And how often does that come around, right?
Never.
Prince.
No,
That's
not
probably
even.
well, shit, it did for
I'm
me.
more. I'm
But
more of a mic. I'm a more of a mic guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's just me. But it's
yeah,
more of like I didn't grow up with Prince. That was my thing.
yeah. Oh yeah, and then Mike, of course. Like those,
Yeah.
if anything, those two you gotta say definitely. That man just stood there, like
Yeah. I mean, the Prince joint's fire.
Yeah.
Like he's fire and it's fire. I just don't have the. I don't have the. I don't have the. I didn't have the.
Yeah, I got
youth
you. I got
growing
you.
up like with Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? That's the
Yeah.
Black
Of
America
course.
versus like Ethiopian American kind of gap.
Epic. But yeah, let's get to my Percy. I stole one of your themes. This is the French fried froze back from the movies. Give you a short one because it takes me every so often. I let shit build up on my fucking lists like all the time. I'm not quite the cinephile like you. I do love movies, but I'm just not, back to back like you are. Yeah, exactly. So I got in one of those moods. You hit me up to.
Yeah, you told me you was watching Requiem for a Dream yesterday. I'm like, I didn't say anything, but I'm like, odd choice, but okay.
Yeah, because it was just one of those things that was sitting on the list, and I'm like, and Katrina was gone, so I was like, all right, I was just smoking and just running through movies, and so yeah, I watched Requiem for a Dream, and I watched Suspiria. Have you seen this movie? 1977.
Never heard of it.
Okay. Psychological thriller. Lord, I wish I should have prepped this more with actually the credits and stuff of this up. But either way, the first thing that brought it to me was because I'll just scan Amazon Prime or any one of these streamers and be like, oh, what looks interesting right here, right? And I saw that there was a Suspiria remake, and I didn't know it was a remake because came out 2018, 2019, something like that. But I saw that and I put it on my list, and then I was like, let me look at this again. Look it up, and it's like, oh, it's a remake. And I'm like, all right, well, let me actually watch the original before I watch this one, because honestly, just watching the trailer for the remake, I'm like, all right, this is a 3-star, but it's my kind or it's my genre of movie, psychological thriller and stuff. So I'm like, okay, let me actually see the inspiration, right? Man, and you talk about jumping back 45 years in film history. It's so jarring. You know what I mean? When you're just so used to watching, I'm telling you to watch Industry, and we've been watching House of the Dragon and stuff like that. You're so used to 2024 and modern shit. But this is a tight 96 minutes, I believe. And basically it's the story of this ballerina or dancer who moves to West Germany because it's 1977. The Berlin Wall hasn't come down,
Yeah.
But and goes to this elite dance school of all these German and like English. I mean, everybody speaks English in the movie, but there are um, pairs that are happening within this school, and one of them, the hook of it, like literally the first 5 minutes is like you see one of the other classmates, the students, she's running away from the school as she's pulling up, like in the first or second scene of the movie. So I'm like, all right, it's got the hook, and like even there's deaths in this, like very early on also, and with the practical effects of 1977, it's like, oh shit, like yeah, obviously it's a dummy, but it's like once again the cutting and the murders are so jarring that it oddly held my attention, even though it was snapping all around the place. And I think that's part of its charm, honestly. And there was this faint, like, I would almost give it like it feels like it would be a festival beat, like a festival, like, we got beads on and everything hopping out in the summer, like before the beat drops, but it's that build up. And that's the song that's playing suspensefully in the background, like this entire movie. Like every scary scene, it's the same one. And I'm like, oh, this shit. I'm like, it's still working because I'm like getting anxious, but it's also like, well, I'm enjoying this fucking music right now. Like, so, and last thing, I'll say you go like an hour, and like I said, it's an hour and a half movie, maybe an hour 40. You go like an hour, maybe an hour 10 without knowing what the fuck is going on. Like it's just still, you don't know what like the evil is. You know what I mean? It's just odd shit. So it's just, but it was a great, bad acting in there, some very good acting in there, and awful special effects, all the charm. So I recommend, just for something completely not out of my wheelhouse, but out of my time range for sure. Because usually I don't go past the 80s for a lot of stuff. But yeah, that's my back from the movies. I'll give that my letterbox of like 4 stars. Was it 4 stars is the max or 5?
5.
Yeah, I'll give this 4 stars then.
Okay.
Just that out of nowhere watch.
Okay. Yeah, no, I've never heard of it. I got the Wikipedia up on it. It seems interesting. Like I said, like I've read the synopsis. Right now it says the critical response from the movie was it was a mixed review, which it sounds basically to your assessment. But it says in retrospect, they have another section in the wiki called the retrospective assessment. It says in the years since its release, Superior has been cited by critics as a cult film. So again, I think you've kind of hit the nail on the head.
Okay,
And
I just found a different cult film. Because I had no indication of this movie outside of the remake that I was about to watch, and I watched the trailer, and I was like, like, and then I just happened to find that there was an original, so that's why I watched it.
Like I said, like the thing that sticks out to me, the fact that I like that you said is the fact that like movies, you probably could say before the year 2000, they just don't make them like that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like even the 80s movies, like all of the like, Breakfast Club and type of shit like that, Ferris Bueller's, like the 70s with like Taxi and, any kind of Scorsese thing that you want to call out is just like they don't make movies like this was actually like movie making.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and
I can feel the production staff behind this, like as I'm watching it. Like
even something like The Exorcist or something like that, you're like, man, like for 1970 something, like that's damn near impressive. You know what I'm saying? Like
did that.
Crazy. So like there's a bit of like it's hard for some people, I get, to like take away what you are used to now and then try to put yourself back in a different time period when they didn't have all that stuff. But again, to your part, that's kind of the charm that I like about a lot of some of these movies. When you go back in time, it's just like, man, like there is some real like craftsmanship in order to kind of get to this point to make this movie. Like Jurassic Park, like while there is some CGI, that is a lot of practical effects. And it's just like, yo, wild. a good comparison that I think to kind of tie it to your Back to the Future from the movies was like I saw Gladiator 2 this weekend. And I watched the first one just recently, like for the first time like a year ago. And I was like, okay, this is a really good movie. I can see why people like hold Gladiator up in like high regards as like a great not cinematic movie, but just like a great film, and for what it's worth. But I think when I watched that in 2023 for the first time, it was like, okay, this is very 2000s of a movie. Like some of the action scenes are a little too clean for my taste. You know what I'm saying? Some of the story points are a little too generic to a certain degree, but you can see that Gladiator was the blueprint for shows like Game of Thrones to be made.
Exactly.
Right. And so when you get into Gladiator 2, one of the problems is that it's not a bad movie. It's actually a good connective movie to Gladiator, the first one. The problem is that we have seen too much of TV and movie evolve from 2000 to 2024, where this just feels like it's kind of missing some weight. Like before you had Game of Thrones, fine, we can have a high, like a very not fleshed out, not that deep, detailed, politics of the story, because we're all so focused on the action. And the action looks good for its time, even though like you can tell parts was CGI and the technology was early. We've gone through Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And Game of Thrones in its entirety, not just from the violence and like, the practical effects and the visual effects, like the stories and the politics of why people do certain things and how we got to this point where it's like, all right, Gladiator, I need that. And I think with Gladiator 2 was like the action, definitely you could feel like, okay, y'all doing y'all thing on 2024 budget, right? But for the story, they kind of yada a lot of it because
they came out 10 years too late. They came out 10 years too late, basically, because this is a sequel that nobody asked for. But from like you said, like now we've been through all of Game of Thrones, and we need that depth, or we're gonna come out and see like what we're envisioning like that. Then it's gonna have that extra layer to hold the actual story together.
You know what this reminds me of? What Gladiator 2 reminds me of? It's like when like a new football stadium gets built. And everybody's trying to go there to like set the record attendance and everything that. And it's like, all right, WWE's going to go there first because they want to set the record attendance for that building, right? Knowing damn well, or like not WWE, like college basketball will have the Final Four at like the brand new stadium because they want to set the record attendance. Knowing damn well, like 6 months later that WWE's going to be there, and then that's probably going to blow them out.
Yeah.
Right. So this feels like Gladiator 2 is like, okay, this looks good, but I wonder what this would look like if this was a Game of Thrones movie.
Yeah.
Just saying. Like, you know what I'm saying? But overall, it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. No, I was just saying, a 3 hour like Game of Thrones movie. Yeah, that'd be sick. That's all I was just gonna say.
Like, with the same amount of money and production budget that they have for this movie, give that to HBO and the people that make Game of Thrones or House of Dragons.
And give us a Game of Thrones movie. Yeah, that'd be crazy.
It's washing Gladiator 2.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I definitely believe that. It's just, for sure.
Like, again, we're just so far. You can't give me a 2000s movie in 2024. And I think the biggest problem with Gladiator 2 is that, like I said, they yada a lot of the story points that would have mattered. Like, we don't. To your point, in the Suspiria, you were like, you don't know what's the bad thing for like a good hour into the movie. It's the same thing in Gladiator 2. You don't. In Gladiator 2, the antagonist is not clear. And then even the people that are bad in the movie, I'm like, what they don't give you enough depth to understand like how we got to this point and why are people doing the certain things that they're doing. So that's where I say it's like, if this was 2010, perfect. 2024 after Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad and all of these prestige TV television shows that can give us not only just great dialogue, but also great visuals of action. It's like you kind of missed the mark here.
Yeah.
But I would still say check it out. It's a good sequel to the original one, but in totality of like everything that you've seen in the time between, you're like, it's all right.
Yeah, we'll see what they do at the box office, because if they miss the mark on that, then it might be on Max sooner than they want it to be, or wherever.
I mean, maybe you might get the double up with because they're equating this to Barbenheimer with Wicked coming out this weekend
Wicked,
as well.
Yeah, that's right.
So, nonetheless, we definitely went overtime on this person.
Yeah,
so let's get into the show.
Yeah. I was say Suspiria 4 stars, and check out Gladiator 2. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Gladiator 2 I gave 3 stars on Letterboxd, but let's get into this show.
Doors opening, step back to allow customers to exit.
Run through the crowd. Habasha Hayes, Samson. I'm here with my tag team partner,
the French Fried Fro. This is the Wrestling Re-Up Podcast.
A weekly stroll through the avenue of wrestling.
Follow us on our socials. Come into Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Send us an email. WrestlingRep@gmail.com.
And we will be dual streaming probably next week as well on Twitch. We'll see how that goes.
Perfect.
So again, we slowly spreading out. We gonna be on podcast. This episode will literally probably be our first episode on the podcast feed. So tell everybody you know. What up, everyone? Episode 20 of the Wrestling Re-Up Podcast. We got an interesting week of wrestling to talk about with a pop-up show to end the week. Later today, it's AEW Full Gear. I'm not sure from where, so I don't know why I try to throw out the city without even knowing where they're going to be at. But we got AEW Full Gear, so you're going to get our preview and predictions, and I'm going to see if I can get a W on the prediction scorecard this week. But let's get through what we got on the rest of the avenue of wrestling, and let's start with Monday. And we got some news before we actually get into the flagship show. News came out after, Netflix had their big weekend with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson about WWE premiering on Netflix January 1st. Raw specifically premiering January 1st. Or January 6th, I should say, from the LA Intuit Dome. That's where the Clippers play, brand new stadium. And it says it's going to feature John Cena, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Bianca Belair, and more, plus Travis Scott. And it was also announced in a press release that Travis Scott, Triple H was at, I think, Complex Con, basically invited him to the show. It was like, WWE, via press release today, confirmed that a new Travis Scott music will serve as the official theme song for Monday Night Raw. So if you keep in count at home, Raw, hip-hop, NXT, hip-hop, SmackDown, hip-hop. Triple H don't see black, right? You don't see color, right? Okay,
that's right.
I'm just asking. What are your thoughts on your Houston Rockets fan, Travis Scott, being a part of?
I think it's a smart move, if anything. Like, Travis Scott is just commercially available Kanye. You know what I'm saying? He's all about making those McDonald's meals. He's always about making.
That's really good. Commercially available Kanye.
He's. Maybe he's like Kanye of this generation. I don't know. He's the first Travis Scott. I think that's the best thing to say. He is an original artist, but he cites Kid Cudi and Kanye as his biggest influences, and he's way more available than either of those two guys actually were. So I think it's a smart move for WWE. I mean, I think it's just a win-win for both, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem. Like, obviously, I not even joke. There is half truths to like Triple H kind of talking out the side of his mouth where he talks about he doesn't see color. Because clearly you do. Like, you're not making this move because you like Travis Scott. Like, you see numbers and you try to equate it to an audience. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see hip hop culture is driving the culture. AKA what we just talked about with Kendrick. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, you want to engage a younger audience. He's a young audience attraction. And it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Kids watch Netflix. So they're going to turn on 8 o'clock, hear some brand new Travis Scott, and see cool people that toe the line between, it's obviously people like Bianca are black, but, you know, people like Roman toe the line of blackness, or Cody, who you everybody likes to bring into the cookout for whatever fucking reason. So I'm not mad at it. I'm just, again, don't play me.
Yeah, okay, I hear you.
Don't play me like you're doing this out of the good nature of your heart, my nigga. Like, this is clearly, this is where like, if he didn't say what he said, I would have no problems. This wouldn't even be probably a topic. But it's the fact that, like, you say something like that, as idiotic as that, and continue to fucking pander. This is pandering. All of it's pandering. So
I think, and that's the
it's not a problem. It's more of a problem of just like, don't lie to me.
I think that's the issue with just that phrase being said, because I think Kaz really broke it down to shoes. Like, around that time when that happened, is like, because now, regardless of what you do, we always got to look at you sideways as black people, because now it's like, that's just one of those, you know, like you said, towing the line, kind of, because it's not overt racism, but it's like, you know, I don't know how to describe it, but it's that passive. That's the way I was trying to look for. Passive racism that you always just got to be like, all right, does this always got to be an undertone that we got to deal with? Like, we wouldn't even be having this conversation if he never said that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So.
It is. And again, like, it's not, again, to bring it even to more real world subjects, who is your wife? Stephanie McMahon. What did she do? She went on Twitter and on social media and congratulated her mom for being nominated for Secretary of Education of State. Or Secretary of Education.
Secretary of Education, yeah.
Knowing damn well she is not qualified. Whatsoever. And it's also interesting to see all the WWE superstars that liked that post. Again, don't pander. If you go pander, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this nigga want to lie and be like, oh, I don't see color. Okay, nigga. You don't get Travis Scott, Wale, and Meg Thee Stallion to do your intros. But nonetheless, we'll see what happens. He also said, he was also asked on some type of interview, how would you feel if Monday Night Raw, the first night, has buffering issues? Similar to what happened with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. And as you would imagine, he was like, if I get told the next day that we had 60, 70 million people watching it, I'll be fine with the buffering issues. So
it's about those. He's going to see it as them, like, that's the same thing that Jake Paul said. It's seeing as them crashing the site, you know? Because they're not going to do whatever, because what Jake Paul said, 120 worldwide. Like, Raw is not going to do that. So, like, not on the weekly basis. We don't got to worry about Netflix crashing every single week.
I don't believe.
I don't believe it either.
I think that is a collection. If you take all 4 hours or 5 hours that program was on, 120 probably makes sense. Not 120 people. 120 million people are not watching at the exact same time. That's more than the Super Bowl. Get the fuck out of here. So, either way, again, don't pander. If you don't see color, then you don't have to pander. As simple as that. But it is, like I said, actions speak louder than words. And again, there's a lot of people in WWE. I'm looking with the side eye. All these niggas want to be giving out cookout passes, which I've never given out one. I'm looking at y'all niggas with the side eye. And that's not just Triple H. That's not just Triple H. That's a lot of the active wrestlers there too. Because it's wild to me, Dallas is such a diverse workplace, but still got these regressive ass thoughts. Working with queer people of the LGBT community, but still be living with these regressive ass thoughts. So it is what it is, but that's why
money make the world go round. As long as it makes green, then we'll do whatever. That's what it is.
Kendrick asked the question, and it's not just for me; it's for everybody there. How much $1 cost? You know, Triple H never did anything bad to me. Okay, but what about everybody else? Like they never did something bad to me. Shit is you selfish at that point. But that's a much bigger conversation that I didn't mean to drive us into. Yeah. But again,
that's all right.
He throws it out. You gonna throw it out there? I'm gonna call Triple H out every fucking time. First, because you say some stupid shit like that, you gonna get called out every fucking time. So at least that's on my watch. You don't have to say shit. You can let me get on my soapbox. I don't give a fuck.
No, that's what I was saying. I already made my point. It's like if he didn't have to say that, I mean, that's his misstep, right? That's just the misstep of that phrase, because as we'll get into later, I'm going to skip ahead right now, but Montez Ford got a win, a singles win this week. And it's like, all right, so now if he gets his US title, how are we going to look at that? You know what I mean? How are we going to look at that? So that's the problem, but
because he had to say something in the public sphere. To get it done. Ooh, again, like, this is what happens when, like, you don't have the real sense. He doesn't have a real sense of actually talking to black people. The only black people he interacts with are people that he interacts with on a business basis. And it's like, bruh, like, go touch some fucking grass.
Yeah.
If you did, you wouldn't be saying some stupid shit like that. And then doing out these NXT skits, like, we're gonna say words like for shizzle and whatever young kids are saying in yeet, or it's just like, bro, pandering. But we love mediocre white men, so we like mediocre white people in general. Not me, but society loves mediocre white people. So let's get into this flagship show.
We just came out of election day, so obviously.
Let's get into this flagship show.
All right.
I'm pretty light on it, but you do have the highest thing on here that we somewhat, I guess, disagree on. Not disagree, but I guess have different feelings on.
Yeah. My primo, Ludwig Kaiser, causing the disqualification in the Intercontinental title main event between Sheamus and Braun Breaker. And it was literally for the reason that you said, just making his presence felt, because in the same way that we have LA Knight and Carmelo, Santos, and Lord Andrade, were his immediate, US title competitors. We already know that we got it was Sammy, obviously, when he had to flip the title with Braun real quick. But between those three, we got Ludwig maintaining his name in the light of that, because he has been on, not the back burner, but at least as far as the title has been concerned, he had been, because we all like Ludwig and know he's like killer on the mic and all that stuff. But he's more so being, Gunther's right-hand man all the time. Like, even when he came out last week or this week and like defended him.
Yeah.
So I just like that he's still title focused, like still got his own thing, like still trying to prove his point, which is why I had it at primo, because I would have preferred that than see Sheamus get beat clean by Braun, which I would have had down at, because I was like, Sheamus isn't winning. So I like that finish better. That's why it's my primo.
I have this in mid just because it's mid rising and it almost made it as primo because I'm just more curious of like where does this lead Ludwig? Like, is this actually going to build him up, or are we just kind of using him as like a mid card threat? And that's fine, but like, is that mid card threat going to lead to an actual title, or is it just I'm just going to be an antagonist? So
yeah, just be in the rotation. Yeah,
I'm waiting for it to be a little fleshed out. I do think it is nothing against anybody's fault. It's not even anybody to blame, but remember he was in a bit of a feud with Ilya Dragunov. I want to say before Ilya got hurt, and so I think that kind of required a little bit of like retinkering as far as like his path moving forward. But I do think within the last couple of weeks of, him coming out and, trying to speak up for Gunther and then Gunther kind of cutting him off and him coming out and doing this stuff, I'm like, okay, Ludwig, like you look legit. I just need something to push me over, kind of similar to Bronson Reed. Whereas like I need something to make me believe that you just aren't in the rotation, but a legitimate contender to win at least the Intercontinental title. And I think you have the look, the bravado, all of that, the ring work. I think he has the package. It's more of like, do the people above believe that Gunther Ludwig could, move forward with that? Or are we going to Shinsuke him? Or are we going to Sheamus him? Because to your point with Sheamus, it's like, man, we know where Sheamus is. Sheamus has been here for 15 years. LA Knight's been here for 3. You know what I'm saying? LA Knight's selling merch. Sheamus is kind of like an OG veteran. Ambassador for what? Was he Irish? Yeah, Irish, right?
Yeah.
Irish, like Sheamus has done everything. He don't need a belt. He's here for more of just like to get you over. But again, like nobody, it's the same thing with Shinsuke. It's like we don't want to see Shinsuke just come back just to lose to LA Knight. We don't want to see Sheamus come back just to lose to Braun Breaker. And so I like how it ended. I just want to see, is this something that gets Ludwig into a little bit more of a serious contender?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good button. I was gonna say, as you were talking about, I was like, well, Sheamus's overall story is like him just pursuing the IC title anyway. It's the last title he hasn't won. So I'm like, would that happen at Mania? We'll put a pin in that. Put a pin in that.
Yeah.
All right. So what we did agree on are mids. So Bronson Reed getting the W over Seth. I'm sure you didn't like how this happened, but Solo interfered just to reinforce his expanded 5-on-5 for the War Games match. Got to keep Bronson strong. So
a lot of shenanigans.
Over. It's not clean, but yeah.
I mean, I'll take the L here. I was wrong last week. I was like Adam Pearce. He's still stupid as fuck, but Adam Pearce, I was like, why make a one-on-one singles match when this match is not going to even happen? Because these guys can't have a straight-up one-on-ones match without even causing some type of interference. It came to a conclusion, so I'll give you that. If that was your goal, is to prove me wrong that it came to a conclusion, fine, you did that. Still required a whole entire shenanigans before even the match started to even get to this point, but it makes sense. I'm fine with it. And by the actions of what happened on Friday last night, I'm fine with this.
Yeah.
Because, not to spoil it, but I'm glad that Seth is not in War Games.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he put a real huge punctuate or exclamation point behind that when he said never. Teaming with Roman.
But like you
again,
have to be like, okay, but like something's gonna have to pop off where you're like, no, I gotta get my hands on Bronson Reed. So I'm glad it didn't work out that way. It still gives me opportunity to get my Seth Rollins, Bronson Reed, Long Island Street fight at Saturday Night Main Event. So I'm still got my my bet on that still. So it was cool. It was cool. And Ben Bronson Reed, Seth are just good together.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So.
Like that, he's brought him up to that, championship, like main event level. You know what I'm saying? Even without having a belt, because you can have that monster. He is that monster. You know what I'm saying? That could always just be a threat to
legit.
anybody
like
on the
I said,
roster.
That's what I want from Ludwig. I was like, I need you to show like you're legit. You ain't just this dude coming out here just being the shady heel, just costing people matches and then dip setting. It's like, nah, like I'm a problem.
Yeah.
You gonna take me serious or I'm gonna be a problem.
And that just needs to come from like actual in-ring like singles wins. That's what he needs. That's what it sounds like, because he's definitely shown that he's vicious. And like you said, he is the whole package. So it's like, hey, get in the ring and prove it for real. Don't just be sneaking people,
Yeah. Let's get to your other mid. Or did you have any more on Bronson Reed, Seth?
No. Yeah, I got the Miz and Karrion Kross bragging, just this ongoing beef between the Wyatts and Final Testament. And Bo coming back with the warning to them. And immediately I noticed on the YouTube comments is like, everybody's like, God damn, like they're twins with his hair grown out, right? Everybody was like, he looks just like Bray now. Like when he doesn't have his hair pulled back, like he's all raggedy and stuff. It was like, yep. Yeah, you see the sibling. But Miz talking about how he deserves an Oscar for that performance, I just thought was funny. He was like, I bled for this, like, which I noticed, as that was happening, I noticed that, he clearly got like pricked, like, busted open, like near his eye. It looked like in his eye somehow. And it was just this like one trickling, almost looked like a tear of blood. So just turning that into an Oscar like acceptance speech.
Didn't he mention like Marine 7 in the promo?
Yeah, he was like, he was like, this is the perfect launching pad for Marine 7. So I love I guess tone deafness, or I guess it's just sheer arrogance that like the Miz character. I fully believe that the Miz character believes he can get the Marine 7 and get us to go watch it. Like for sure. I think he believes that. So, and Karrion following up with like basically TikTok, you know what I'm saying? We got the jump on you guys, y'all ain't shit. And I really like it. So I don't know if this will be, maybe they could announce something for this. I would think by Survivor Series. It is a whole lot of multi-man.
Like this might be the traditional match.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Those matches also take a bit of a time. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, it's interesting. Like I said, Karrion Kross more so out of everyone in the Final Testament. And, I'll give it to Scarlett as well. The other three, they need a little bit more TLC from the creative team, I'll say. But Karrion Kross, Scarlett, and Miz definitely been doing well. Miz is the Miz, but like more so Karrion Kross has been definitely getting his stride within this. So I hope they come out with the win. I hope they come out with the win over the White Six if they do end up getting a match.
Yeah. But that's all I got.
Yeah, let's get into our shake. Mine is quick. Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega had a intergender tag team match with Chad Gable and Ivy Nile. Obviously, Rey and Zelina beat American Made. I'm happy for Zelina. I'm glad that she gets to have this opportunity to work and tag with a legend like Rey Mysterio. She's awesome in the ring. She's great on the mic. Like she even was great in this match as well. There's got to be something more. There's got to be something more. Like I know, like we probably are gonna get an Intercontinental Women's Championship, and because there's no Raw superstars for the U.S. title right now, right? That's a SmackDown list.
That's a SmackDown title.
So I'm hoping that there's something a little bit more than just being the lackey of the LWO, like, and just I just want more for Zelina. So
yeah,
and then
that's a good
American
call.
made. Again, creative team, your writing sucks and it's lazy. Because we talked about this offline last week. It was like, why couldn't this just be Diamond Academy or whatever they were called, the Diamond Mine?
Diamond Mine, yeah.
But to lean into this super American patriotic BS is just lazy.
Propaganda, yeah. It's just the easy old gimmick, yeah, for sure.
It's lazy, and then it's broy as hell. Like, Chad Gable has literally just been doing the same thing for a year now, just with different people. I'm going to yell at you. I'm going to smack you. This, that, and the third. This time, though, these two meatheads are like attacking each other because they're bros and they're meat. It's like, again, the same thing that we talk about with what we just talked about with Gladiator and Game of Thrones. It's the same shit. We have seen too much, not even just within wrestling, as a TV watching, movie watching society, to just be getting 5th grade goddamn storylines.
Yeah.
That's the best y'all can come up with this shit?
It sounds like this is Reggie. It sounds like it's Reggie.
The American made in general is Reggie to me at this point. And it's funny. It sucks because I like each one of them. I like all of them.
Just their writing. Yeah. Their story. They don't, they're kind of
gimmick, everything. It's just like, this is trash.
Yeah.
This is literally trash of a gimmick, of a storyline. Y'all, there's got to be
missing,
something more.
That's what it is.
There's got to be something more to. There's got to be something more to this. You cannot tell me y'all sat in the writers' room and was like, "Let's go back to this gimmick with no creativity, no depth, no nothing. We're just gonna add Chad Gable to do the same thing that he was doing to Alpha Academy." Then why the fuck did they goddamn leave? Like, it's I don't understand it. It's lazy, and it gives none of these guys any character or depth. So actually, I mean, like I said, I lumped this in because it was mostly supposed to be a Ray and Zelina, mostly a Zelina take. But if I had to separate it out, American Made is Reggie.
Yeah, they're missing 2 out of the 3 just being over because it's, like you said, the presentation or gimmick, the story, and then it's in-ring work, which we know all 3 of them can, or all 4 of them can in-ring work. That's another question. So the other 2, as far as just characters are concerned, is lost there, But yeah, I hear you on that. My shake is the women's war game story is stilted, and it's just like, But I think this is why it's Shake and not Reggie, because we just know that it has to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and this is also where I guess all the Liv Morgan and Raquel beef with Bianca and Jade has now made sense because it's like, oh yeah, we're just doing this to build towards War Games, because remember they had their title match too, also outside of this. So they're trying to get us to believe in this, and that was really been like the anchor of all of this. And it was supposed to be a surprise, that Rhea came back. Obviously, it was pre-taped, so we knew that was happening last week.
And like I said, Rhea Rip Hamilton.
Yeah, really. Which I like that one. I like that one a lot, for real. But yeah, it was just the pull apart brawl. Rhea comes out there.
Yeah.
War Games headbutt. All right, cool. So it's happening. That's literally all that Shake was saying. Hey, War Games is happening. Cool. And that's all I had to say
me
for them.
Is really close. Again, not Liv Morgan, the character, like the gimmick, the story that she's in right now. It's same thing that we've been saying for the last few weeks. It lacks any depth.
Yeah.
Like, she's not like, again, she doesn't have much heel. She's not a heel if she's not going against Rhea. And at this point, it's like, you can't be scared every time she comes out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to need you to like throw your dukes up. I'm going to need you to squabble up.
Hey, she knows Rhea's still out of her weight class.
But she talks like, her promos is like a 14-year-old girl picking on a goddamn 45-year-old woman.
Yeah. She's very shallow for sure. And I mean, I said that months ago too. Yeah, it's just if she's not attached to Rhea, it's difficult for sure.
So she's not
But
in Reggie yet, but man, you need to figure it out, girl.
mhm. That's all I had. Any more?
That's it for me. Raw
Yeah.
it's just a weird show for me. These 2 hours have not been really good to them, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can move on to the next day. We can move on to Tuesday. There was a bit of a on Tuesday. There was a bit of a news I came across about Alexa Bliss and wondering where she's been. And this was kind of news to me. I didn't realize this, but it was like Alexa from Wrestling World CC, which again is not a valid source. If you wait, I don't know if they are or not, but it said Alexa Bliss names things that she's been dealing with during her time away from WWE: skin cancer removal, pregnancy, eclampsia. That has to do with like high blood pressure, I think, during pregnancy. I looked up, and then multiple postpartum health complications. And then Alexa Bliss had followed up on that post and said, just saying that this was previous. She's been dealing with, but she's all good now. So just wanted to call out Alexa Bliss and shout her out. I think there was some small video packages. I don't know if they were on TV or if I just saw them on social, but it seems like she may be coming back soon. I don't know where, but just for anybody that was curious on like what's up with Alexa, like here's some information on her, and she's doing well. Didn't know she had all these things going. I know she was pregnant, but the skin cancer removal, that was a eye-opening one to me. So I'm glad she's doing well, and I'm hoping that she's back and healthy and doing well after everything.
Yeah, we all do as wrestling fans for sure. And this just goes to show, like, I mean, hey, these people are people, right? You know what I mean? Because it's like we can say as fans, like, we want them back, but they need to prioritize themselves. And we also, as fans, good fans that they would also prioritize their health, for them to perform. We don't want anybody out there that's not physically or mentally, you know what I'm saying, like stable enough to do so or feel like they're sharpened enough to do it. So
yeah,
because it's a demanding job, and not to mention that work isn't the end all be all. Your life should be. So if people need to step away for an extended period of time, then so be it.
Yeah, I mean, having a kid, going through all that, and then I remember, I don't know how long it's been, but like she had a pet pig, and I believe that pet pig passed away not too long ago. Not this year, but at least a year ago. So again, like she's dealt with a lot of stuff, so it's good to see that she's doing better. And again, whether she comes back or not, I think she's gonna come back, but like regardless of the fact, like, glad that she's doing well and everything's looking on the up and up.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the bodega, NXT. And we had a pretty big match on here for this week where we had the NXT Championship #1 contendership between Andre Chase versus Ridge Holland.
My guy.
In this match, the Chase U was on the line. The existence of Chase U was on the line.
So it was.
And Chase U is done.
My heart is broken. My heart is broken. I love Andre Chase so much. And Chase U, that was a gimmick.
Talk about your primo. I had this in mid rising.
Yeah, it's my primo just because, once again, it's just, this is like when Dexter Loomis got arrested and Indy Hartwell had to watch her husband get taken away. This is like those ridiculous, like, if you're invested in a character or a storyline, this is like the biggest fucking thing, because I don't see how Chase U comes back. I feel empty inside. Like, I feel like I need Andre Chase to be like broke Corbin. Remember, like, when he was like just despondent completely? And like, I need him to get Chase U back. That's all I care about right now. That's all I cared about coming out of this episode, was like Granted, once again, like all of them standing on their, I believe Duke Hudson for sure. He's the fucking size of Rich Holland himself. Yeah, exactly. So it's not like he's not a guy that could stand on his own with a gimmick. Thea Hale, I love, obviously. And I feel like Andre can stay with, the Chase U gimmick, but it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna be a story of, I don't know how he gets it back, but I want it. And I don't know.
I hope there's a bit of like a broke Andre Chase. Like, the first thought I had, I was like, okay, maybe there's like a professor gets fired, right? And then he's kind of like disheveled and trying to figure his way out. I'm like, well, he's not a professor. I guess he's a dean.
Yeah, he's like the dean and founder.
So it's like, but you could still have that same premise, right? A disheveled dean that just lost his job and shit like that. His students are looking to him to like, come on. And he's like, I can't do it, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. So I'm curious about it. I have it in mid-rising because similar. I'm just curious to see, like, where do we take this to Rich? Because I thought he was going to win.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a surprise to me.
Oh, you thought Ridge was going to win? Okay.
Yeah, I thought Ridge was going to win. I mean, like, as far as like longevity of the storyline and where we're headed, I'm like, okay, Ridge seems like he could use this. Is it just going to be he's going to get screwed out next week? Or I guess, was that match at Deadline? Or was that next week?
Deadline.
Is he just going to get screwed out at Deadline?
Chase,
if that's the case, I'm like,
Yeah, because you want to. It's obviously this is like that's vicious enough to. That's like breaking up LWO by beating Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio is the never-ending face. Yeah. So just doing that, you would hope that would propel Ridge into the title picture, which it literally is because that's the stipulation. But you want to maintain him there also. So if Chase does interfere, which is not crazy to say, that means that we're just extending this him and Andre Chase rivalry. And it's like, all right, where does that leave us if Andre Chase comes out on top? Like I want, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. So
that's why I'm like, I almost kind of want Ridge to take the title from Trick.
Win the title?
Because even right now, just like seeing the response to Ridge beating, Chase, and then it's like, we got we got Rich Holland versus Trick Williams for the NXT Championship at Deadline, and people were like, who's going to wrestle? Who's going to pay to watch this? Are we really going to watch Rich Holland versus Trick Williams for the, like, that's the main event of a WWE? It's like, people don't seem to be too geeked up on this upcoming match. And I'm like, what kind of stunner would it be to see Rich Holland be NXT champion?
Yeah. Yeah, that would be that would be a stunner for sure. From where all he's gone through and stuff is like smart fans, we know. And doing all of this being his best run he's had as a heel, clearly, since he's turned on Chase U. And yeah, that's what it is. I hate Ridge.
Maybe you get a little tag team match in there between like Andre Chase and Trick Williams versus All Ego and Rich Holland. Or there's things that can happen. Maybe it gets Andre Chase into the actual NXT championship picture.
Yeah. And that's where I tell you how I told you I'm despondent, and I'm gonna call it already. Like whenever Andre Chase, like, because we're building up Ridge right now as like his antithesis, his foe, right? Obafemi is gonna be on SmackDown by that point in time. Because I don't see, that's the only question I would have about that, because Obafemi could beat anybody on NXT for sure, whether it's the NXT title or not. But that would easily be one of my top shelves for the year. Andre beating Ridge. I guess that would be for the title, or not for the title. It would be for at this point, if you want for the title, that'd be up there. That'd be one of the best moments of the year. Yeah, I would say getting Chase U back. But that's the same. That's him getting his title. You know what I'm saying?
Has he gotten Chase U back? It's only been one time.
Yes, because he gambled it away, and then he was in debt to Tony D'Angelo, and he went to OTM because OTM was supposed to break their legs or break his legs, and then he like bought them off somehow. So yeah, he like wiggled his way out of the debt with OTM in order to set himself up right with the money to give back to Tony D. That's what it was. So anyway, yeah, he's gotta get Chase U back. All right, my mid. Fallon Henley getting psycho trapped. I really like this. There was the obvious you always gotta have, like, when you get like the new title, or you gotta have that division very clearly set, or like who's in the picture, and you do that by pulling off these brawls, right? And Fallon Henley, the women's North American champion, is victorious, but however gets jumped from behind by, I'd say, probably my favorite. I don't know, is it my favorite women's finisher in NXT? It might be. It's probably my favorite women's finisher on NXT. But Tatum Paxley as Fallon Henley is like, I'm the champ. All you stupid bitches out here fighting over my belt, and ain't nobody up here. Tatum Paxley slides underneath the ring. Grab that arm, grab that leg. Psycho trap. Stupid ass. Hold the title up, you know? So it's very simple, very classic, but hey, we know who's next. We know who's the next up on the docket. So oh, you're still muted.
Yeah, my mic got unplugged and then I had to plug it back in. I guess that automatically mics you. YouTube. I'm not totally sold on Fatal Influence.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because I just keep mixing them up with Toxic Attraction.
That's part of it, seriously. That's not even a joke, because we're not the only ones who do that. We listen to other wrestling pods and they do that. So it's like they're still in that. They still need to break out of. We're just three women.
I see there's something to like about them. I think it's still early, so I'm actually curious to see how this plays out. Not from like a finality standpoint, but I think this might be the start of something, at least for both like Tatum Paxley and Fallon Henley. I'd be curious to see how this kind of plays out. But if this plays out similar to Toxic Attraction, I'm like, again, what are we doing? There's got to be something more than just rehashing the dominant champ with two henchmen that will get them out of every match for a year.
Yeah.
As much as Mandy improved, it's like that was the dynamic. Like no one's gonna say that Mandy Rose's title reign was more impressive than Roxanne Perez.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not.
So that's where it's like you got to get away from the similarities that Toxic Attraction has, whether right or wrong. That's not, like I said, it's not just us. It's a collective that feels that if we have to stop and ask ourselves, are we saying the right name? That's a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Not even to jump ahead to AEW, but like I saw a video on AEW. Somebody had made a video was talking about how like they have a name problem. And it's like, when you say Tony, who are you talking about?
Oh yeah, true.
It's like when you say like what's Adam, like who are you talking about? Because there's like 5 Adams.
Yeah, Adam Copeland, Adam Cole. Yeah.
It's like it's something similar to that nature.
Yeah.
It's like Toxic Attraction, Fatal Influence.
That's too close already. Y'all
are way too close on this.
Yeah.
Your other mid, Stephanie Vaquer.
This was just more so going towards the thirst and top comment on the YouTube section, in case you're wondering. A shout out to the ring for not collapsing underneath all this delicious cake, where Stephanie Vaquer beats Jada Parker. And that, I wouldn't say it was surprising, but I think it was more so surprising they put Jada Parker in that spot, just because it's like, all right, we're building her up too, but it's like, I mean, we understand she's not unbeatable, but one of my first thoughts was like, this should be pay-per-view, but instead it's like, because I could see this as a pay-per-view when Bakura is like champ, or either way, I predict both of them, they're going to be here for like the next 3-4 years, both of them. So we would think, but their chemistry will improve. I didn't think it was a bad match. Technically, like Stephanie Bakura is absolutely, I wouldn't say she's challenging Io Sky yet. I just need to see some more like high flying stuff, because that's not her gimmick, is high flying, but she does some springboard stuff that she is so fucking clean on. You know what I'm saying? So she's one of the top technicians up there, for real, for real. Like, I think she's one of the best workers. But I enjoyed this match, mid-rising. It makes me care about them both more. It's just that surprising Jada Parker took a L. That's all.
Yeah, if I had to be fair, it'd probably be mid-rising. But I guess the reason I don't have it anywhere, I guess, is because I'm like, to your point, I'm like, man, did this match have to happen? Couldn't we just got both of them? Couldn't we have just both of them in the Iron Survivor match? Like, when you saw this matchup, you're just like, damn, I guess Jada Parker losing. Like, and that's a little disheartening.
Yeah.
To have to see. Though, like, again, just from like the match itself within a vacuum, I'm like, yeah, it's a good match. It was entertaining. I was just like, I feel like there was a similar situation on the main roster. I feel like whether it was like for the US title or something, it was like Montez Ford versus like someone else that you were like, oh man, both of these guys probably have a chance to win, but one of y'all have to lose because you're all up against one another, and I believe like Montez lost, and it's like, damn, it's like, can we just both be there? Like, did the shuffling of the cards have to be this way? It seems a little. It seems like, damn, sucks for Jada Parker to have to be in that position. It also seems like for Stephanie, it's like, and to Julia's case as well, do you have to make it so easy for them? Like, we get that they're good, but like, does it have to be so easy?
Yeah.
Like, have they had any type of adversity since they've arrived?
That's what's tough about this match, because I honestly would say this is Stephanie Bakura's like biggest challenge she's had, going up against Jada, because they have been so intermixed, and like, because we got a whole lot of new crop of women in this division, which is why we got those tag matches and we got to just put them on. But one-on-one, I would say this is her biggest one, so she's stepping up. How we define this, I think, is interesting, because we all know that this is around the NXT women's title picture. You know what I'm saying? So it just has to come to a clean head, I think, really.
It's not anything a problem with the match or anything. It's more of just like, I get what you guys are doing. I just wish it didn't have to come to the expense of Jada Parker.
Yeah.
But comparison, did Bianca never won a title in NXT? Am I correct?
Yeah, she never won the NXT title.
You think? Well, did she? Because they didn't have any mid cards. So, do you think that might be the path for Jada?
Oh, okay. Oh, just her skipping the titles altogether. Oh, yeah. I mean, for
at
sure.
least within
she's got
NXT,
the charisma.
Obviously, within NXT, like, she'll get her gold on the main roster
on SmackDown or something. Yeah. I mean, I can see that, because if anything, I would definitely say she's more charismatic than Bianca, like in NXT already. So yeah, that's not out of the realm of possibility at all. But
I just would find it hard to believe that at a time where Bianca didn't have an opportunity to win a mid card title, now you have two. She ain't getting none of them. No, not two, but you have a mid card title and a main and a top spot
main event
title. main event title. It's like you don't get none of them on NXT.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, I mean, like maybe that's the confidence they have in her. But nonetheless, Stephanie Vaquer moves on in the Iron Survivor.
Yeah, I keep
Go
looking
ahead.
off camera because I keep trying to find. I cannot find an update for like the Iron Survivor bracket right now. They keep on referencing everything from last year. So, but yeah, getting to my shake, it's just continuation of that. The Iron Survivor qualifications. We got Nathan Frazier and over Eddie Thorpe and Zarya winning over Ren Sinclair. So they advance to the Iron Survivor match at Deadline also. And that is it for NXT for me.
Yeah. The Eddie Thorpe Nathan Frazier match was interesting. It just got way too busy with like all of the outside interference and shenanigans that were going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like you forgot that it was like a singles match 1-on-1. It's like, oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And then Zarya, it was like again, like, does it have to be easy?
I think for her it does. Yeah. I mean, she's the one that clearly everybody's already saying woman Brock Lesnar, right?
And if that's the case,
obviously
then why
F5
just
is
come to
part
the
of
main
that.
roster
So,
then?
well, that's there's different. Like we're talking
I'd rather her
about
go
gimmick.
against Io
We're talking about
Sky
gimmick.
than just wash Ren Sinclair. Not saying that like Stephanie Vaquer washed Jada Parker, but like that's effectively what we're looking at right now. It's like these two women are not going to lose.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. Not that. At least it hasn't been for the title yet. You just got to build up those characters. But I mean, she's clearly in the heavyweight division as a woman. You know what I'm saying? Or at least she has heavyweight strength, where she has the advantage. You know what I'm saying? Unless she's going up against Jade, like she can stand across from Jade right now, or like Charlotte. You know what I'm saying? Strength wise. So,
Stephanie or Zarya?
Zarya, yeah.
Zarya, she was on Bubba's podcast this week.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Okay. I saw Bubba got her to do the Devon, get the table.
Yeah.
Gimmick and stuff like that. She was cool.
Yeah.
Anything else from the bodega?
Nope, I'm cooked.
All right, let's get over to Wednesday. And before we stop in the coffee shop, there's some news getting into the coffee shop. First bit of news was this was a bit of time jump news because this came out on Tuesday. But AEW put out a list of their winter events that is happening between now and I want to say April or March is the day. March 12th. Yeah, and so the biggest news is that schedule includes AEW Fight for the Fallen in Asheville, North Carolina, debuts at the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City, and Crypto Arena in Los Angeles. So, yeah, Wednesday, December 18th, Dynamite will be here in Washington, D.C. at the Entertainment and Sports Arena. That's where the Mystics play and the Go-Go play because the Verizon Center is a little too big. It's like a little bit more of a smaller venue. It's like, I haven't been there, but it looks nice. It's by the Nats Park in the Navy Yard.
Yeah.
But then we have a couple shows in the Hammerstein Ballroom. That's where they had ECW's One Night Stand, 2005.
Of course.
Ring of Honor on the December 20th, Final Battle. Then we got 2 tapings. We have Collision on the 21st of December, and then there's a special taping of Dynamite on the 22nd at the Hammerstein Ballroom.
Yeah, Christmas.
New Year's Day, AEW Dynamite Fight for the Fallen at Harrah's Cherokee Center in Asheville, North Carolina. In between January and then all the way up into March 9th, there's a lot of small venued Dynamite and Collision shows that are happening in between across Texas and Tennessee and Georgia and other places
They're
in
all
North Carolina.
South of the Mason-Dixon. That's what I'll consider the majority of that. It's all in the South. And then you hit, Cali and Texas near the end of that.
March 9th, AEW Revolution from the Crypto Arena in Los Angeles. So Just a couple of dates to call out. I did like to mention on the Masked Man show about them just being at smaller venues a little bit more
Hmm.
often, because I think that's at least at the spot where AEW is at. Like that's where it feels good. Where it's like, don't
Hmm.
go into the MCI Center or the Verizon Center. I literally went through two old names, the Capital One Arena,
Yeah.
uh, and where like you're not gonna fill it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need
Yeah.
to just be at a venue just because of the venue. Be at the venue that fits your audience. And right now, if you can fill like the Hammerstein Ballroom is going to look dope for AEW.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm curious to see what the Harrah's place looks like in Asheville, North Carolina. Like, I feel like that's probably a bigger stadium just because it is
Hmm.
a PLE. But nonetheless, AEW's got a lot of good stuff coming up in the next like 4 months. So definitely a lot to be on the lookout for.
For sure. For sure.
Any other thoughts?
I agree with just the thought of them being in smaller venues because there's a charm to that, you know, in indie wrestling. It can be. You know what I'm saying? Like when you have that more intimate feel, that's how you get like I mean, NXT is like the best case of this because obviously it's major WWE, but it's like it's the major indie. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm trying to say. Like
Yeah.
it's best of the super juniors, like and like New Japan has. It's where you're gonna get like because that fan base is so ferocious and intimate with those characters in that smaller venue. That's where you get like uh you know like when Lash messed up and called Trick Baby in front of
Mm.
in front of everybody, and then uh everybody's chanting like whoop that Lash or like or Trick Smash Lash or some shit like that. It's like okay, because we know intimately that these two are actually together, and it's funny to
Yeah.
see that mess up. So I think for sure you would obviously get that with AEW, and that could be. I mean, honestly, I would prefer that too. Nobody wants to be in an empty arena, and you're just like, even as a fan, you're just like,
Mhm.
damn, where's everybody else at? Like, shit, that makes you feel lame, high key, like because you like, dang, nobody else, everybody got better shit to do. We like the
But also, like,
three thousand bozos in here.
going to a WWE show, like, when you walk into the actual, like, arena, you're like, "Oh, like, this is a television show."
Mm,
Like, it's very, like, clean and, like, very glossy. You know what I'm saying? With
yeah,
the stage, all the lighting and all that stuff, and not to say AEW doesn't have that for Dynamite, but there is a bit of, like, "Hey, like, this is like, with WWE, it could almost feel like you are just there to watch a show,
hmm,
while like with like all of anything outside of WWE, it's like, okay, yeah, like we're here to like have fun. You know what I'm
hmm,
saying? Like this is our opportunity to get some shit off our chest right here. Like here, like WWE feels like you are at a live studio taping.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like with Fresh Prince back in the day, and then like you had people just it's like you're going to watch like the Tonight Show or some shit like that. It's like, okay, we get it. We can participate, we can do that, but it's like, yeah, but we got a TV show we gotta fucking produce.
hmm,
Well, like, and again, not to call out AEW, not to say they're not the same. It's more so WWE, again, it's just a machine, as we kind of talk about it, where it's like
yeah.
you're not really
60, they got
interrupting
a
the yeah,
I was
you're
gonna
not
say
interrupting
60,
the
70 year
machine.
head start. Yeah,
Yeah,
of
you're
course
not
not.
interrupting the machine, and you know you can't get away with you can't do certain things. But with like every other wrestling show, it's like okay, yeah, we're here because we really enjoy wrestling and we want to have fun and things of that nature. So it's gonna be a fun time for AEW. I'm glad. Hopefully, it works out for the best. Let's hurry up. There was some news that came out that kind of took me surprise, and I'm curious to get your take on it. But Tony Storm says in an interview with SB Nation that she is leaving pro wrestling. Quote, I have failed at everything. I lost in AEW. I lost in Japan. I lost in Mexico. This is the last you'll hear from me again. Enjoy Mariah May as your champion. You can enjoy that. AEW will just fine without me. What's your BS meter on this?
What are you talking about? To 10? What are you talking about? An 11? She's 29. Like, what are you talking about? I can hear timeless Tony Storm in that. You know what I'm saying? That's when her psyche first broke, and she was like, "What good am I into? What good am I into anybody?" You know? And she had that whole segment where she turns into timeless Tony Storm. I can hear that in this, and this is just a quote. You know, just reading the words. I'm like, nah, dog. She's 29. I ain't hearing that.
It's funny. She didn't mention one place that she also failed at, and using "failed" in her quotes.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, because we know she was a WWE too.
Yeah, I had to leave that out. Yeah, I like when I first saw this, I was like, okay, like not surprised because I feel like she took a break from wrestling at one point before coming
Mm-hmm.
back. So like, okay, like again, 29, okay, you have a whole life. You know what I'm saying? Like wrestling is
Yeah, for
not just
sure.
the only thing you need to do. So I'm like, okay. I feel like I did hear that she has been wrestling at Collision, like on dark matches, or maybe I'm mixing
Oh,
it up
okay.
with somebody else, but like she is around.
Yeah.
And I did also see that like within like the last month or so, Kenny Omega, Eddie Kingston, and now Tony Storm have all said the same thing where like AEW will be just fine without me.
Mm.
Is that the faction that goes against John Moxley and his crew?
Hey, you calling some shit out now. That's that. You got your fourth eye open. Like, oh, basketball Illuminati's back on. By the way,
Oh, are they?
the pie.
Nice.
Yep, the fourth eye is open again. Like that's a. I ain't gonna lie. That's a fourth eye look right there for sure.
But as I when I saw this, I was like, I took it for face value, and then I thought about it a little bit more. I'm just like, I don't know, but I'm not willing to doubt anybody to say that like they are going to retire or not. It's just I'm like, all right, like
Mm-hmm.
if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. Like
Of
Kylie
course.
Ray, you know what I'm saying? Like she's left, come back from WWE, AEW. Now she's signed a WWE ID contract. It's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
anything can happen. So it wouldn't put it past me. It just seemed very abrupt out of nowhere. And so I'm like, you're very confident that this is BS. I'm not past the meter on it. I'll give it an 8.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm
this
on
is
BS
also
meter.
me assuming. This is me assuming that Tony Storm, like the real person, actually like still loves wrestling. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because at any point, like you said, you got other priorities. Wrestling's not your whole life. That's just a
I don't
career
think
path that you went
she
down.
fell
So
out
if
of
she
wrestling
just
out of the
doesn't,
last year of wrestling where she's had probably the most fun in her
yeah,
career. Like,
and she's like the most over ever. Like I tell you, she
yeah.
was my woman's wrestler of the year for sure, hands down. It wasn't even close. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's why
Bump
it's an
that BS
11.
meter to a 9 for me. I said 8,
Yeah.
bump it to a 9.
Yeah, that's why I was like, you just finished literally the best stretch of your career. Like, are you kidding me? Anyway,
Let's get into this coffee shop.
yeah. Yeah, let's go with your primo this time. All right, we got AEW Dynamite, Orange Cassidy over Wheeler Yuta. You got.
Yeah. I had that as my primo because the match is obviously the self. I thought it was really done well. Again, I think just the character work on both sides is what's kind of getting me intrigued most. I like the change of character in Orange Cassidy and being a lot more serious, being more vocal, calling his shots out and things of that nature. Wheeler Yuta, I like this predicament where he's in, where it's like, is he bought in or is he just kind of just like under this kind of like uh Stockholm syndrome or whatever you want to call it, where he just
Mm-hmm.
feels like obligated to do certain things of that nature. So, um, like I told you a few weeks ago, I'm like Orange Cassidy is one of those guys where I'm like, that is the pillar of your company,
Mm-hmm.
not John Moxley. It's Swerve, it's Orange Cassidy, it was Tony Storm, or even Britt Baker, and then MJF.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am intrigued by where this is going, and I'm intrigued by what happens today at Full Gear. So with that, I leave that as my primo.
Yeah, I fuck with it for real. You're right about the character work. I stood on my soapbox for this last week, and
Mhm.
I don't want to start a whole debate about this, but I would push back on Moxley not being one of the pillars as far as like biggest draws, biggest names, like
I'm not saying
great
he's not a biggest draw,
matches.
a bigger name. I'm just saying that's like foundational piece as like who are the young people that you like? This is AEW.
Sure. Yeah, okay. And I would say Moxley, he represents the big bad of like that is real AEW. And this is where like even you just saying that like really intrigued me because like as I'm watching this match, like I mean, not to jump to our predictions, I mean I kind of am, but I hope Moxley destroys Cassidy because in my head, like just watching this, it just reinforces how powerless he is with the Death Riders. Like they duct taped him up and like literally were bullying him in the middle
Mhm.
of the ring. And I'm like, Orange Cassidy, which I agree is a pillar, like you said, he is one of those foundational pieces. He's helpless. And he went through, and he's serious right now. He's serious and he can't do anything. So immediately my thought is like, it's got to be somebody bigger. Like it can't be, it can't be Cassidy that beats him. Like there's no way. So I don't know who that person
That's
is. And then I didn't even think about Kenny Omega, honestly. I didn't think about Eddie Kingston, but you put it, that's why I say I'm giving you props on that right now because that's like one of the best, like, shot out in the dark bookings I've ever heard. Because even Marina Shafir, she hasn't gotten physical yet, not legitimately. She's just, the briefcase holder. But if we're talking about AEW women who are in the main event and serious, Tony Storm can fucking work. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, but yeah, that's the only real. I still mid rising, or I guess yeah, this would be because this is my top
I mean,
storyline
if you
on
talking
there.
about
But
pillars, if you talking about pillars and you put Orange Cassidy with those three,
yeah,
that's a better look on AEW.
yeah, for sure. And that's like the equivalent of like this OG bloodline, new bloodline shit, So that'd be fire. But yeah, still really in on it. I just got it rated lower than you this
That's
week.
fair. That's
But
fair.
yeah,
But the character work is what got me there. Like, because again,
mhm.
the matches are the matches. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, most of the matches are pretty good on AEW, regardless if it's Dynamite Collision or a PLE. But the character work on both these guys, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good. But I agree with you. I don't think Orange Cassidy could beat John Moxley. And a lot of it's just like you look at you just, it's just like a just looking at them from a physical standpoint, it's like, yeah, John Moxley is going to
You
destroy
gotta
him.
it's got yeah, once again, go to the kayfabe or the beyond kayfabe, like you're constantly talking about. You gotta be a real physical, like I have to believe what I'm looking at. There is
Yeah.
still an element of that.
Like
So
Darby
even just
Allin getting destroyed by Claudio is probably going to be the exact same thing that's going to happen to Orange Cassidy.
literally. Uh but my primo, you had this as your man. We just were flipped on these two.
Yeah.
Was the start of Dynamite, the 4v4, the Don
Mhm.
Callis family versus the faces of Will Ospreay, Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricochet, and Mark Davis. And yeah, once again, multi-man matches, like 3v3, 4v4. These like they could literally put these on every single week and maintain just like this is fucking high level chemistry, like athleticism, all the good things you want to say about actually getting a bunch of people on and it making it feel exciting, even though we know this is just a typical segment, basically. Not that it doesn't mean anything, because there is story built in, and I think that's why it has the gravity of that and being in Primo. But the Don Callis family going over, I wouldn't have it any other way. Yeah, this was the best thing on the show for sure, from in ring. And then
Yeah.
storyline wise, I would say the best thing was Claudio destroying Darby. I was so happy that happened. But yeah, what you got?
I had the 8-man tag as a mid. Mostly because I think for your point, the in-ring work was great. there are definitely some storyline elements that I did like about it. I like the Powerhouse Hobbs injuring his leg, having to leave and then come back and things of that nature. Mid got a little too busy for me.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same issue I had with the Nathan Frazier and
Eddie Thorpe match. Yeah.
It just got a little too busy for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that is my only thing that stopped it from being at a primo is just, yeah, it just got a little messy for me, and I just wish it was a little bit more of a cleaner, a little less shenanigans involved. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
There's because there's already a lot of things that is happening in the match when you have high flyers like Ricochet and I'm blanking on the names right now, but
Will Ospreay,
you know, Will
Kyle Fletcher
Ospreay,
can do it. Yeah,
and Kyle Fletcher. That it's just like, okay, like, can we just slow down a bit and just not have like persistent, like Fast and Furious
yeah.
at 90 miles an hour for fucking 20 minutes? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a little bit of more of like, story doesn't necessarily always have to be just so like so staccato. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could be legato with it. So had to bring my music analogies to
I
make
fuck
sense.
with it. Yeah, I just want to speed this up very, very slightly, but we agree. I know you don't have it written down, but Claudio destroying Darby. You did see that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And the reason I felt the need to actually put it in mid was because Darby Allin, like you said, is another pillar, but once again, realistic weight classes and stuff like that. If Claudio can destroy Darby like this is where I'm like, okay, this is a fucking mountain to climb of the Death Riders. You know what I'm saying? If he's just going out there, like we saw him lay out Darby in the parking lot before when, power bomb into the giant swing, into the garage door. And now we see him destroy Darby legitimately in ring in under like 5 minutes, 6 minutes, where Darby, does his best, but it's like, no, it shouldn't go like that. And if Claudio's laying motherfuckers out like that, then, I mean, yeah, Kenny Omega, that sounds about right. You're going to need a Kenny Omega level or Cody Rhodes, face to come in, something like that.
This is where it sucks, because it's like, for people like Yuta, Cassidy, Darby Allin, it's like, does everybody just have to be Daniel Bryan or Rey Mysterio? The ultimate underdog to get over these guys? Like, I don't know how you do it, because it sucks to be like, oh, well, like, just because of your physical stature, you can't do it, and we need to get someone that looks like Kenny Omega to be able to beat. Like, that just seems like, oh, my bigger brother gonna do it. I'll get my ass kicked, but my big brother's gonna help me. It's like,
I'm not
okay, but that means, but that gets to your point. But like, again, you can't do anything about life and genetics. You know what I'm saying? But like, if you hire the same thing that we talk about in the women's division for WWE, if you hire a bunch of Alexa Blisses and Liv Morgans, it's going to be hard to make people believe that they could beat Nias and Biancas.
Yeah.
So that's where it's like, I don't know how they fix it. It's just something that I'm just like, you can't give everybody the Daniel Bryan storyline. You can't let everybody be Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, and that's where I like, if we're continuing with that, that's why I say I'm intrigued by it. Because it's like, if Claudio's laying dudes out like that, it's like, the only person I can think of, honestly, right now, would be Will Ospreay. That's like on the roster right now. That's a face. But he's obviously caught up with Kyle Fletcher in his own story. But he's the guy who's like young, up-and-comer / obviously superstar, we know, in the ring right now, all that good stuff. Like, he could do that. But even still, like I said, that's a mountain to climb. That would be like 6 months, however long of a storyline, I would think. But anyway, my other mid, Lashley, just destroying some enhancement talent in a handicap match.
Yeah, a guy named Cheeseburger.
Yeah, apparently, immediately I went to look, because he got a huge reaction. He's a ROH legend, okay. But I guess he's just like one of those guys that's been grinding out there, and people love his gimmick. I need to look more into his work, but I guess he just has a very strong, like clearly very strong audience connection. So
Yeah.
But really, this was about Swerve attacking Lashley from behind, pulling like a old school John Cena. Remember, he used to hit him with the chain. That's exactly what he does. Balled up.
Yeah.
Ow. So
I did like Swerve's promo that he cut afterwards backstage. I wasn't sure if it was on TV or if that was like a digital exclusive, but he had a nice promo he cut against Bobby and MVP.
oh, what did he say? I actually didn't catch that.
I gotta go back and rewatch it, but it was, it's more of just like, our history and this, that, and the nature and, don't play me type of stuff. It was just the conviction in which he said it in was just like, okay, like, I think Bobby's gonna win this.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to this matchup.
Yeah.
It's one of the top matches I'm looking forward to, even though it's like, yeah, put the black guys with the black guys and the former WWE guys with the former WWE guys. And it's like, okay, yeah, like we're all hitting the notes, but I do think Swerve is doing more of the lifting than Bobby and the Hurt Syndicate.
I think they've had, yeah, I could see that.
And I can see Nana turning
opinion.
on. I can see Nana turning on Swerve.
Why? Because he's let Hurt Syndicate bully him. Because he let Hurt Syndicate bully him. I saw that digital, like Hurt Syndicate caught Prince Nana slipping at Complex Con, and they were like pushing him up against like. So if you're going off that, then I was like, okay, maybe. But I'm like off of one time though, like they loyal. Like I don't know if I would have Prince Nana turning on Swerve. That'd be crazy.
He's gonna do whatever to cover his ass.
That'd be crazy.
He's going to do with another guy from New York that we'll talk about later in the show what I think he's going to do. And he's going to do whatever to protect his ass.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not as strong on that compared to like my Thea Hale.
Yeah, okay. All right.
But keep an eye on Nana. Keep an eye on Nana.
Okay.
That would be a shock though. Let's finish this out.
Yeah, my shakes. I got MJF and Roderick Strong's vignettes because they got a match going into Full Gear tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Really, this was MJF. Was his shock value promo, telling us about how like Roderick Strong is like traumatized as a person because he watched his mom shoot his dad when he was a kid. Which I guess is a real kayfabe, like outside of kayfabe, like real thing that's happened. Which obviously, I mean, it's fine because obviously we wouldn't be talking about if it wasn't okay with Roddy in the first place. But to me, it's just shock value promo. Yeah, and you know what I'm saying. Again, so Roddy,
I'll respect. Go ahead. Sorry, I keep cutting you off. Go ahead.
And yeah, it's because I just wanted to keep it quick. That Roddy, he came out later on and answered back. And even him on the mic is just like, he's tough. Like, not to say that he needs work on the mic, but it just wasn't a clean promo.
It's not
you know what I'm saying?
It's a lot of AEW. It's a lot of AEW that is tough on the mic.
He's a vet, so it's like that's not even an excuse of like he'll get better. I think that's just how he is. He just had a bad promo. He
was on NXT, my guy.
Exactly. And even before that, you're wrestling elsewhere too. So, yeah, that's why it's in Shake. Really, it was just like, okay, we're having a match at Full Gear, like from both characters, very in character for both of them. So I was like, all right, that fits, whatever.
Yeah. My only thoughts on the MJF, mostly the MJF promo, is yawn.
Yeah.
Because again, like I'm not doubting the real life things that might have happened or have happened to Roderick Strong. I'm not trying to minimize that. It's more of just AEW just goes into their little easy bag of tricks, and it's like, hey, shock value. You should say, we talked about somebody's family. Christian says you're a bad father. Like Jesus fuck. How old are y'all? Like
really?
Again, the same thing I said for WWE. There's gotta be better shit than this.
Mm-hmm. There's
better storylines on TNT and TBS than this shit. There's got to be some. It's not as a wrestling thing, as a television show. You got to be better than this shit.
Yeah, because to add to your point, like literally add to that, to be better than that, like, because literally I do not care about this match, right? Because this is literally a rivalry about an extension of Adam Cole. This is Roddy fighting Adam Cole's battle right now, basically.
Yeah.
So, and it hasn't been booked well, in my opinion. I mean, MJF has actually just been off this whole time, so it's literally just been like promos and shit. So you just use this last vignette to like say the most vicious thing to make me care about it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
And I
this was
don't
like
care.
literally, you tried to, you know, you were lazy at the front and you tried to like, oh, I'll make it up at the end. You know what I'm saying? Type of shit where it's just, all right, well, MJF is great. You guys still want to watch MJF, which I do want to watch MJF. This is just the worst version of MJF when there's nothing, no weight behind him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
that's what I
it
say.
is.
Like that's what kind of gets me. It's just, and it's again, it's just circumstantial within this, but it's the habit that AEW has where it's like, we'll just say something wild.
Yeah.
With limited context or depth or perspective, and it's just, we'll just say something wild just to get the shock factor. Just like the same thing, Okada and his bitch thing, and it's like, okay.
Yeah,
Or
shut up, bitch.
Or Mariah May and Mina Shikara. What's her name? Mina
Shirakawa. Yeah.
Shirakawa.
Her cleavage.
They're doing a little, you know, their titty shake, and it's like, there's got to be something better than this.
Yeah.
Y'all literally wrote this. Y'all thought this is good television, not good wrestling, good television. Like, you're competing against others things at 8 o'clock and 10 between 8 hours of 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock on a Wednesday night. This is the best shit you can come up with. And again, I keep that same energy for WWE. We, as a TV viewing audience, have seen way too much good television to just be given like daytime television Maury and Jerry Springer. We're better than this as a TV audience. Don't insult our intelligence. So, one more thought on Dynamite.
Yeah. My last bit was just Chris Statlander beating Hikaru Shida clean.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Shida, the only 3-time women's champion, another pillar of AEW. So it's like, I felt like that was a great win for her. This is the same way Mercedes beat her in pursuit of, you know, the TBS championship. So I think it just legitimizes this Chris Statlander person as a competitor even more so. Because obviously we know that Mercedes is like the name and like Camille is the muscle, but it's like, you still got to have that. I don't want to say she's not over. She is over, but I just a little extra umph. That's all. Just because she's, you know, going up against Mercedes. That's all. So, but yeah, that worked out the way that I wanted. But just to look at Bleacher Report, because I did forget this, says Mercedes and Camille came out to the stage so the CEO could talk some trash. She tried to send an injured Camille to the ring to fight Statlander, but the Brick House looked hesitant. She went in and took a swing, but Stat and Sheeta easily took her out. Monet tried to hit a backstabber, but Statlander countered her and hit her with her finisher to put the champ down. So once again, building with this Camille, like bullying of Camille thing. Mm-hmm. Do you think she's just the one to take her down? Like Mercedes? Yeah. We don't have enough character for her. I agree on that, but I'm just wondering how long is this title reign going to be?
Does Mercedes just find another big body to take out that big body?
Yeah. True.
I would like to see Camille beat Mercedes, but I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's happening with Mercedes. Like, it's just like, I think we're trying to just accumulate days on a belt. She has a lot of, she has creative control, you know, like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
And I don't want to get into, I don't want to give out my prediction right now, but I will say I also do not know. So that's where we agree. And that's why I was asking you, because I was hoping you'd give me some juice on that. But that was the last thing that I had.
I'll see if I can come up with some juice by the time we get to our predictions. Let's hurry up. Let's get through this book of wrestling real quick.
Yep.
And a while music. And we're back with another episode or another week of the Book of Wrestling. Short one this week. We got 2 things on the list, both added by Moody. Appreciate you doing the time to add this stuff in. Which one do you want to take?
Let's go the more recent one.
Cool.
I'm gonna go the more recent one. So November 23rd, this day, 10 years ago exactly, the final presence or the final debut of Sting in WWE. It was crazy. Like the icon Sting for the first time. Well, for the first time, I say final, but like I meant finally.
His last joint was at WrestleMania, right? Not WrestleMania.
Yeah. At WWE Survivor Series in St. Louis, Sting made his first WWE appearance during the main event on a 5-on-5 tag team elimination match where Team Cena defeated the Authority with Dolph Ziggler being the sole survivor, which meant in storyline that Triple H and Stephanie McMahon were no longer influential on the direction of WWE talent roster, which broke up the Authority. So Sting had to come out for the first time. That's quite a debut for sure. But also when I read that, I was just like, damn, that really was like Dolph Ziggler's like that's like a definitely top 5, might be top 3 Dolph Ziggler moment. You know what I'm saying? Like in WWE. Because at one point he was like 4-on-1. It was like him versus everybody. So that shit was crazy. But quite the debut. Sting was there.
Yeah,
he was in and out of WWE.
No one ever thought Sting would be in the WWE.
Yeah, which is why I felt the need to put it in there because it was like obviously well overdue. But
well overdue.
Yeah,
but I mean, hey, that was the guy for the next This Week in Wrestling History. Nice little transition. November 21st, 1988. WCW is born. WCW was born. Media mogul Ted Turner took over Jim Crockett Promotions, renamed it World Championship Wrestling, and would go in directly to compete against WWF/E for the next few decades. Few decades mean a decade.
Yeah. They made it to 2000, didn't they?
2001. So a decade and 2 months.
No, that's 3
years.
By technicality, that's 3. Like the 80s, 88, all through the 90s, and into the 2000s.
88? You count 88, 2 years in the 80s as an entire decade? You start a decade from 88. What does that take you? 98.
No. Not
add 3 years. That's 13 years.
We're talking about making a press release. That's what we're talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You're in advertising. You know exactly what it is. You got to make it sound good. That's why you say around or like
for the next few decades. Few decades.
Yeah,
they were around for
3 decades. So 88, 9, 90s, and 2000s. There you go. We was there for all 3 of them.
Shout out to WCW. If you want to say, the next few decades, including the spiritual successor of AEW, sure, we'll call that because Sting is there, and a lot of WCW people are there. But shout out to WCW. You definitely are a big pillar in the wrestling history and where we're at in this point. So shout out to WCW. Let's move on to the boutique where, judging just from the Bleacher Report grades, like, I don't think they were. I think the general consensus was like this was an all right show. I thought this is probably like the best show that WWE's put out in like a good month. Because there's a lot of good things to kind of take away from the show, even for it to be pre-taped. I'm like, there was a lot of great stuff, and the biggest thing here that we both have, and well, the 2 things I guess we both kind of called out here is the main one, Bloodline segments, especially the ending of this show, where we understand who the 5th member of the OG Bloodline will be, and then Cody and KO have a verbal spar. And there's some additional stuff that I have with Mello being somewhat involved to this, but I'll let you kind of just kick off our primos as far as pick one you want to start with.
Yeah, I'll go Bloodline. We see early on in the show, the arc of the whole show is how obviously we don't have a fifth member. And we see them early on, hey, what are we gonna do, dog? And Roman, it's funny, he was like, hey, we don't need nobody else. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, Cody, he's like, hell no, basically. But I did he said, he put a period on it though. I thought it was very important. My ears were perked up to this. He said, that's old news. I've moved on. Mm-hmm. So he's completely, in his mind, he's completely square with Cody in my mind, or at least that's what that translates to me. Okay, cool. And, but yeah, immediately he's like, hey, we don't need nobody else. It'll just be the four of us. And the first thought in my head was like, hey, yeah, we gonna activate those Hall of Fame resiliency, Sammy. Yo, that's gonna be up in there. We gonna be in there with all heart. That's
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that Hall of Fame resiliency badge is gonna come into effect.
Exactly. That's what he was saying. He was like, hey, we all gotta bring our resiliency up a level. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's revealed later on. Did you listen to The Masked Man or Wrestling?
I had it on, but I think I blanked out when they probably were speaking on this. So were you spoiled?
I don't know if this was, this is where I don't know if, I can't remember if he said that this was going to happen, but Kaz is always like, oh, well, you could do this. He just randomly fantasy book or oh, this is a way to do it. But word for word, bro, word for word. That's where I'm like, okay, this one must have been taped. And I didn't realize that up until the end. Was this a taped episode?
Yeah, it was
okay.
Taped.
So yeah. That's all right. I need to re-listen to it to say if he said that was actually happening or not. But yeah, word for word, he predicted this, and I was like, oh, okay. But at first I had this separated, and just Paul Heyman coming back because I forgot it in the moment, and it was just Paul Heyman and Top Shelf, right? Because it's been the first time we've seen him since he got his ass beat. But then I was like, this was just SmackDown. It would have been better if I would have left it there if we're going into the match. It's the main event of Survivor Series. And we still don't know. And then we hear it. That would be Top Shelf. So I recalculated. And I was like, yeah, this should just be Primo. So, but it's great hearing his voice again. The OGs stand tall. So, and CM Punk, he brings CM Punk with him. His first advocate previous to Roman. So, and they have a little face off too. So, that was cool.
Second advocate.
Oh yeah.
First.
Well, yeah. Yeah, Brock, yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. Everything Bloodline is the WWE storyline. Not just SmackDown. It's the Raw storyline and it's the SmackDown storyline. It's the best storyline that they've got going. And it's crazy because it's been 4 years.
Right.
Going on 5. I am glad that is not Seth Rollins in this match because it doesn't make any sense. And the way Seth been talking the past few weeks, if he was to be in this match as an official participant, would just negate everything that he just said. So I'm glad it did not have Seth as an official participant in this match. Paul Heyman coming back after last week, changing his phone number because, like you said, he's an old guy and he ain't changed his phone. And bringing back Punk, I thought it was a very interesting dynamic. I need to go freshen up, on the last couple months on remembering what brings Punk in here other than just being a Paul Heyman guy. I remember he had a little verbal conflict with Solo a few months back with Paul in the ring. I remember that, but I'm intrigued. I have thoughts. I don't trust Paul. Simply because look at the way he was dressed.
Was it a red tie he had on?
No. He had a suit.
Okay.
He had a red shirt.
Red shirt. Okay.
like regular shirt, not even like a button up. It was like a regular shirt. He looked more dressed up for the new bloodline than he does for the OG. And you could say, "Oh, Paul wears suits." Okay, but he was wearing pinstripe suits. Like he looked
with a tie.
He looked more in
like Solo.
Fashion wise.
That's how Solo dresses.
As Solo dressed than he does with Roman.
Yeah, it's the same way. Like you said, it would be a red shirt and he has a chain, and that's it, basically.
Yeah.
And he got that one glove, or I don't know if he wants ones or two.
No, he does have two gloves. He got both OJ gloves on. But
yeah.
But so that's where I'm like, I don't trust Paul. Apparently, some of the back and forth between CM Punk and Roman in the ring, where like Roman was like, "That's my wise man," and he's like, "We'll see," or something like that. It was like basically, I just don't trust Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see a situation where Punk probably turns on Roman and the squad and things of that nature. Seth probably comes in, makes his presence felt just to get his licks on Bronson Reed at some point during the match. I don't trust Paul. I don't think CM Punk is the bad guy in this situation. I think there's a mutual beneficial partnership between Paul and CM Punk. I think Punk is, trying to get the title or whatever, move up the ranks so he can have those thoughts. Paul, similar to how I feel about Nana.
I was literally gonna say that if you didn't. Yeah.
You gotta cover your ass, bro. You gotta cover your ass. And
CM Punk never let him get beat up. He let freaking Paul Heyman get bullied for like a month, like 2 months, and then finally get kicked out and put through a table and shit. Like, and couldn't nobody find you, Roman? Couldn't nobody find you? That's crazy. So yeah, I mean, I fuck with that, and that's a good catch. You catching how he's dressed. So
yeah, that's what threw me off with Paul. I'm like, the way you dress right now, you dress more like the new bloodline than the OG. So I might be wrong, but I'll leave that.
Yeah.
Let's get into this Cody KO promos.
Mm-hmm.
Whose side are you on? Whose side are you on?
This is where it's aired out, so that's how I said it, because it's like KO's been in his feelings this whole time, and finally told Cody, like, man, I've been fighting them for 4 years, like we all knew, but he finally tells him. And I think there's definitely a moment where Cody's like, oh, why didn't you just say that? Like, where he's like, still like the baby face until he obviously is like, but you blame me for all this shit. Like, I couldn't do anything prior to coming back. You know what I mean? And him having a good point of like, my choice to join them was independent of you. I think this is similar to like New Day. They're both right. They're both right, honestly, because KO pays attention. We know that. And we're still waiting for Cody to say the N-word, hard R. So I mean, there hasn't been a there still hasn't been,
because he's been working with white people. Cody. He's been working with white people. He's been staying away from the people of color. So.
Yeah. I mean, they're both right. So whose side am I on? I mean, I guess I'll say KO's got to get at least. I need to see at least two like apron power bombs. I think that's happening for sure. Like get 2 of them back to back, like that vicious KO. So in that case, I would say I'm on his side.
Yeah, I'm on KO's side. I'm on KO's side. Cody's points towards KO doesn't make much sense to me. I don't want to say make much sense to me. It's a cop out to just be like, it's your fault. No, nigga. I can take accountability. That's not the problem. The problem is that you just came here for your own ambitions, and even when people try to help you and be on your side and things of that nature, you never looked out for anybody else. It was always just to get you to your title and finish your story, as Kevin said it. And so for you to ignore, like, not what just Kevin, but everybody else that was here while you were gone and trying to find yourself and be in Japan and do all this knick-knack shit, We was here trying to stop this dude. We did so much. He said he was there at 39 and 40.
Yeah.
And then what happens? You team up with Roman. What the hell are we doing this for then?
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing this for? And so for Cody to just come back and be like, you should just blame yourself. It's just like, bro, that's why you're a heel.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you're a heel.
Yeah.
No dude coming out in suits is a face. No dude coming out in $2,000 suits is a face.
Mm-hmm.
With a Dr. Evil dog. I'm standing by that. I'm standing by that still. But Kevin's right. Kevin's right. I agree with Kevin. I don't think he's going to win, but I think he should win. But again, I also like the fact that after the matters, when Cody's walking through the back, Melo says something slick. And he's like, hey, I'm just saying what everybody else on the back has been saying. Which, who knows? Melo just living in his little... He's living in his little ISO chamber bubble of just like 3 people to be like, yeah, I hate that nigga too. Blah, blah, blah.
He in the barbershop. Yeah, he in the barbershop. Well, yes, man.
Yeah, like... So, like, who knows if he's actually speaking for what the entire backstage is. But I did like the fact that Melo was bucking and Cody bucked back and, you know, it was a pushing and shoving. And so I don't think Melo's going to win. But again, I do definitely think that there's going to be a God complex in Cody that's going to be like, you guys should be thanking me.
Yeah, right.
And all I get is...
All I do for this company, all I do, like... And he'll just be saying, like, putting the food on the table. He'll turn into Roman. Just like he's the tribal chief. So it's like everything I do to keep the lights on in WWE, I'm out here busting my ass.
How many niggas needed to help him win that title? How many niggas needed to help him win that title?
Mm-hmm. The whole history of WrestleMania, the literal
entire history of WrestleMania.
Yeah, the Undertaker, just him by himself. The spirit, the Phantom of WrestleMania came back to help you. That's like, oh shit.
So I'm on Cody. I'm on KO's side. I hope he wins. Yeah. I don't think he's gonna win, but again, I've said it. Cody's a heel.
Ooh. Yeah, Cody's we working there,
and he's gonna say the N-word.
Yeah, eventually.
Let's get into these mids.
Yeah. This is the same mid, so I guess I'll start from the larger point of view. It's Chelsea Green advancing in the Women's United States tournament, triple threat tournament. She beat Bianca and Blair Davenport. We did. Because she not that she needs it, but deserves, you know what I'm saying? So because I don't think she hasn't touched any gold besides the tag team championship. So but during the match, Bianca is distracted. Obviously, she has the upper hand, and she's distracted by up on the Titantron. We see Jade out in the parking lot, just splayed out on the hood of a car, and Bianca panics and she leaves because she's a face, and obviously my tag team partner is way more important than winning this tournament.
Winning a tournament that I've already I'm 3-time.
I'm better than all of these women already. Yeah, that's really low key what's in her head. She's like, I'm on a new path. I'm making tag team history. You know what I'm saying? So she makes the right decision, leaves, and we get Chelsea Green with the W, pinning Blair Davenport after hitting her with the unpretty her. And it's great. Yeah, we both called it.
Yeah.
Who killed Jade? Who killed Jade though?
Yeah, I'm glad. Well, before we get my title for this is mid rising is Who Killed Jade? But yeah, to start off with Chelsea first. We both predicted Chelsea to win, but I think it was more of at least I had predicted that Piper might come in and help Chelsea get the smooth win. I didn't expect what happened to happen with Jade getting taken out and Bianca leaving. Obviously, it makes sense because Bianca's not taking this pin.
Of course not. Exactly.
That's gotta be weird, especially for someone like Bianca, like people in those positions like Bianca, to be like, "You're not taking this pin. You are not taking a pin."
I don't think, obviously, we know her character, and then backstage, she's already put in the work, right? So it's that's not something I think has to be said. So It's just like,
but like
it's such a better way to make that.
When they're talking about the finish of the match, it's like, all right, who's taking the pin? She just looks at the other two.
Yeah, well, sure.
Because she's like, hey, it ain't gonna be me.
That's where I think. See, I'm ahead of you on that. I don't even think Bianca's in that room. Like, I think we know who's taking the pin between us two. Like, she's like, her writing is already like, nah, we got this covered, and it's a way better way to get her out of the way than, like you said, than just Piper. That's the more typical, like we would expect. So
yeah. But yeah, my question of who killed Jade. Before we get into the actual answering that question, I just want to say that
this is also
makeup. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah. This is also for the first time I got this a double champion of the week is this segment, but we're gonna get into that later.
Okay, I don't know what your champions are.
Back from what you're saying.
I don't know what your champions are, so if I say something, you can refrain from yourself if it's your champion.
Yeah.
But the first thing I want to call out is that like I don't know if Jade had like, you know, eyeshadow for her, like just for her appearance to come out, or if that was just like I got beat up makeup on her face. But when they first like showed her laying on the car and like, you know, and just like splattered out, I'm like, y'all had to add the face paint, because if y'all just left her there with just like a clean face, you'd be like, yo, she looked too damn good. Laid out on
right. She just sleep. She just fell asleep real hard.
She just looks way too good. It's just laid out on this car. We got to mess up her face and like add some like blood on her face to make it look like Chad Gable when the White 6 like came out, because I'm like I said, like, you know, if they didn't add the face like damage to her and she was just laid out in the car, I'm like, girl, you too fine to be laid out in the car looking like that.
Yeah.
But who killed Jade is an interesting question. I have 3 suspects, and I'm going to power rank them for you. Okay. You want me to start from the bottom or the top?
The top, sure.
Top suspect, and I think is the most obvious suspect, Charlotte Flair.
Sure.
There's been teases of her coming back. You know, she's been posting stuff, things of that nature. The triple threat match that Jade was supposed to be in next week for the U.S. Women's Championship has an open vacant spot. So you would like to think that, hey, that person that is in that fills in that spot possibly did something, and it seems like it could be Charlotte. Prime suspect number 2. Bailey. No, not Bailey. Naomi.
Okay.
Prime suspect number 3 would be Bailey. But prime suspect number 2, Naomi. I think she might be mad about missing out on her opportunity, and this is another way to get her back in.
That's good.
And it, you know, builds into a heel turn. Because I think, what have we been saying for the entire year for Naomi? Why come back?
When she was the TNA Knockouts champion for like 6 months
back?
Or 9 months prior to that.
I want to update my fantasy booking just in case, because she still has her match to qualify, right?
Possibly. You talking Naomi?
Yeah. Doesn't she still have her match to qualify? I need to flush that out. But I want to rebook. I want to rebook what I said last week, because I said that Naomi was going to win the championship and Bailey was going to turn on her. Scratch that. I think Bailey's going to win the championship. Naomi's going to turn on her. This has to end with Naomi being heel and starting 2025 as a heel.
Yeah. Okay.
Whether it be because she jumped Jade, it could be for both reasons. But Naomi is just too nice, needs to get onto that heel streak, and hey, go take out Jade. Go do what you need to do. Third one, Bailey.
Okay.
Because Bianca don't trust her. Bianca's never trusted Bailey. When she was in Damage Control, this, that, and the third. And then Bianca was, obviously she was in distress for her tag team partner, but she's like, this is my tag team partner, blah, 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 blah. Like, she was like, let me be, I need to go with my tag team partner. And I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Bailey has something to do with this. But power rankings, Charlotte, Easy number 1, Naomi 2, Bailey 3.
Nice,
Who you got?
nice. I'll get into that in my champions, but
Okay.
I will say for sure that number 1, Charlotte, I agree with. No, like that, she's the one who I had in my head immediately because I also saw like the teases and stuff, like
Also,
breaking
Charlotte
the fourth wall of
Andrade
kayfabe.
is on SmackDown, so
Yeah,
Charlotte has to be
exactly.
on SmackDown.
Right?
Same way.
Yeah. So
Becky Lynch, when she comes back, or if she comes back, is going to be on Raw because Seth is on Raw. So,
and I didn't put in the work to actually think about it beyond that, but my first thought was Charlotte. I didn't think Naomi or Bailey, but I like that though. My last mid is Shinsuke continuing to beat down LA Knight because he better not be coming back to just not win this title, as we said before. So, not to say that LA Knight is cooked to me, but he's a little like, I think interfering in Game 7, as everybody said, was like probably put the most sour taste in people's mouths.
Yeah.
Since then, granted, this is a very quick response because we haven't even gone another pay-per-view cycle yet. You know what I'm saying? This is literally the very next thing after that. So that's the only thing that puts hesitance in me. But I'm gonna enjoy the ride while my guy Shinsuke Kinshasas his neck into the second turnbuckle.
Yeah, I mean, I probably have this in shake just because I'm like, I hope he doesn't come back just to lose.
Yeah, mid-stable because it's the same thing as last week.
Yeah. Anything else from
That's all
SmackDown?
Nope, that's all I had.
Yeah. Cool. Let's get into Saturday and let's get into this Full Gear prediction card. Thank you. Did you? No, we didn't update. Sorry.
No.
I threw it in on my phone and it's much harder to edit this table and stuff.
Yeah.
On your phone than it is on the computer. So I'll add this right now if you want to prep in the AEW Full Gear card.
Yeah. I'm gonna bring up the Wikipedia right now.
I'm doing that right now. You could just talk about it.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, what am I most excited about? I mean, obviously, man, Orange Cassidy is not winning. Like, we both believe that, right? Orange Cassidy is not beating Jon Moxley.
Yeah.
I think that's a very well told story. Like I said, he's helpless. That's the last image we see. I don't think there's a chance, honestly. And it intrigues me for the match. I think this is like one of those where we'll see the valiant effort, kind of like a Sami Zayn kind of role is going to happen, in this match, where he'll probably get hit with like one or two like paradigm shifts, and then he'll have to use a Death Rider or something, the variation to like spike him on his head. Yeah. But Orange Cassidy's going down for sure.
Well, I'm adding these matches to the doc right now. But we have 3 pre-show matches. Those
don't count.
Yeah, we don't count pre-show matches, but there is one pre-show match I do want to talk about. It is what is listed on at least on the Wikipedia, is going to be possibly the first match. Big Boom AJ with Big Justice versus QT Marshall. The Rizzler will serve as a special guest timekeeper. I'm waiting. Go ahead. Thoughts, please, sir.
I have a question for you because Big Boom guy is winning this. Do you know who they are?
I've seen like a YouTube clip of them. These guys are just like 2 oversized, mediocre white people that go into Costco and basically do a Billy Mays impression.
It's a dad and a son. The Rizzler is his son, who is
I know. I'm just saying, but like they pretty much do a Billy Mays impression of like, hey, I'm blah blah blah, and I go to Costco because I can order 36 pounds of beef, and it's like,
I just think it's
again,
so funny
mediocre white people. We just love America loves mediocre white people.
Because this is just like such a nuanced, like, you got to be like so deep into like TikTok for you to care about this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like to be like, oh yeah, I actually want them to like, or I care about seeing the Rizzler or like whatever. I haven't seen a single one of those, but I'm aware of them, who they are. Like they're not in my algorithm, I'm saying. But yeah, when I saw that, I was like, wow, okay. Once again, I'm not
I get it from like I get it from like per cross promotion and
that's all it is.
capturing
Yeah,
an audience and things of that nature. I give two shits about this.
exactly.
I give
Yeah,
two shits about this.
we're in full agreement with that.
And this would be AEW WWE agnostic. I don't give a fuck about this.
Yeah.
But hey,
Man, but yeah,
congrats to
that's why
them.
it's on a exactly for getting whatever bag they're getting or whatever they're getting out of it. I don't know, but
you can
I'm not
start going
saying
through this card if you want to, if you have any more thoughts before we finish. But go ahead, finish your thoughts.
I have no thoughts on them at all. I have zero thoughts. But you brought it. I was literally not going to bring it up unless you did, and you did. So
I mean, you kind of have to. I mean, it's like the biggest. It's the biggest thing on their card, or one of the biggest things on their card, just from as far as like, I'm like, again, from a notoriety standpoint, it's like, hey, Logan Paul versus Ricochet. Do people know Ricochet? No, but they know Logan Paul, so they're gonna come and talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, let's start off at the top that you put up here. MJF versus Roderick Strong. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, MJF Roderick Strong. Yeah. I'm probably gonna lose one of these. I'm gonna go.
Funny you say, because I feel very boring in this prediction though. So that's what's weird to me. But yeah, MJF.
I kind of want to go MJF.
Maybe Adam Cole interferes. Obviously, that could be a thing.
That's the thing that gets me is like I think Adam Cole might make his presence felt in this, but fuck it, I need the points. Roderick Strong. I think MJF might win, but I'll go Roderick Strong. I think Adam Cole gets his get back on. You know.
Yeah.
Jay White versus Hangman Adam Page.
Who you got on this one? I want to hear your thoughts on this, actually.
I'm going to go Adam Page.
I am as well.
I feel like I've heard like Jay White possibly leaving the company.
Oh, is that out there? I haven't heard those rumors.
I don't know, but it seems like, people want more from Jay White. Not more from him per se, but like they wish AEW could have did something more than what they have been doing with
him since he's come back.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go Adam Hangman.
Yeah, Hangman. I also am. And also they've been really putting over like Hangman has just defined himself ever since he's like defeated Swerve. Like, I mean, granted, he's been heel since before that, but they really putting him over as like the most dangerous man. I think they were kind of like that might have been even a B-list like story moment for them. Like, and the finality of that match is that now that because he took the chair shot or he gave Swerve the chair shot, he's actually the most dangerous man in AEW. So I'm riding with that logic that he is actually the most dangerous guy. And Jay White has all the right to be I'm pretty sure like realistically it was Hangman who injured him, which is why, since he's come back, he's been gunning for Hangman. But yeah, we can turn this up. We can keep this going for a while. So if that's going to happen, then I would want Hangman to win first on this PLE schedule.
Good logic. Good logic.
Private Party, versus the defending tag team champions versus the Outrunners, Kings of the Black Throne, and the Acclaimed in a fatal 4-way tag match. I think I'm going to go Private Party, unless like we're doing a situation where, we had to hot potato the tag team championships onto DIY real quick before, Motor City Machine Guns could get them. That's the only reason that this would be happening. The only other team I think realistically that wins is probably Kings of the Black Throne. but all of these teams have, or well, the Outrunners haven't. I was gonna say they've all held the gold, but Outrunners haven't. But it's still too early for them, and they're just like a gimmick 80s. They're comedy FTR, quite literally. So there was a moment even when they met like in the ring. So I'm gonna go Private Party.
Is this Private Party's first time holding the belts?
Yes, this is their first reign, and they're only a month in. So
you're not hot potatoing this.
Yeah.
Private Party,
especially since they've been there. So they're some day ones also, like AEW Dark type shit.
I remember,
so.
I felt like maybe it was the Acclaimed. I felt like I picked one. I think it was the Acclaimed when it was All In or All. I think it was All In when I was like, I think they might get this, but they didn't. So yeah, again, the tag team titles, kind of similar to WWE, have just been kind of held hostage by these large factions. That it's like it's good to get them back on the tag teams to hot potato it back to Kings of the Black, which would be, I believe, another large faction, or have they gone smaller?
It's just the three of them. It's just Buddy Murphy.
It's not like House of Black anymore.
Oh no, Kings of the Black Throne is just their tag team. That's what like those two are just called together, but they're still House of Black though.
So yeah, it'd still be a tag team, a part of a large faction.
It's like Black Hippie inside of TDE. Yeah, literally.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's where I'm like, nah, you got to keep these belts on like tag teams that are not part of these large scale factions, because
that's at that point,
you just kind of dilute it. So
yeah.
Mercedes Moné versus Chris Statlander for the AEW TBS? TNT. No, TBS.
TBS is the women's. This is where, because we got to talk about which one of these belts is going to, change hands, right? I think Chris Statlander has been built well, like even up until, like as I was saying before, with defeating Sheeta on this Dynamite. Does Camille turn on her now? And Chris Statlander is champion? Maybe.
Do you feel like there's no build for Chris Statlander to win this? Because in one sense, I can see Chris Statlander winning this with Camille, because right now she's got her arm in a cast. She's built like a tank. There's no problem for her to just bust out of that goddamn cast, or even knock Mercedes.
Just use the cast. Yeah, just use her with the cast. Yeah,
and knock her out, and Chris Statlander wins, and then you get into a Mercedes Camille matchup. But in your opinion, has Chris Statlander done enough to convince you that, like, yeah, she could win this?
She has convinced me that she can win it for sure, at least as far as like this PLE cycle for sure. And she's held the title previously, which she's legitimate. And not to mention, we talk about the size aspect, right? She's bigger than Mercedes already, so she's a real threat. You know what I mean? We saw her spear her through a wall last week, so
yeah,
that she is a force. And I'm really up at that, like, because I really want to take Chris Statlander here. And it's really just a question of if Camille is going to turn or not. And I'm like, I don't know. I'll take my swing right here. I know it's early. I'm going to go Chris Statlander. I feel like this is a swing for sure.
I'm going to go creative booking here, and I'm going to go with Mercedes. But the way I'm going to book this is that I'm going to go with what I said before, just now, where I think Camille is going to probably bust both Chris Statlander and Camille with her cast. And then lay Mercedes on top of Chris Statlander for the 1-2.
That is creative writing, because usually you just hit one. So, yeah.
But no, the point is that I think Camille doesn't like to be talked down anymore.
For sure.
From anybody. She got put through a wall last week. She getting talked down by this pimp squeak in Mercedes. Hello, do you not see this female Adonis Like, who are you talking down to? So I'm gonna get respect on my name from Mercedes and on Chris, but this little pipsqueak has been making my life a living hell. So I'm gonna need that title off of you.
Okay.
I'm going Mercedes. Bobby and Swerve.
She'll have to.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was just gonna say her and Chris are gonna square up after that. But then, yeah, you're right. I was just thinking about progression of that storyline, and then she'll get it off of Mercedes because Chris, is gonna want that fade too. But I got to make it. I got Bobby.
Bobby.
Just came in making the Hurt Syndicate. And I will say, the very last thing on Mercedes and Chris Statlander. As you were making your prediction, I just remembered, like, I told you I love Julia Hart, and we've been getting those vignettes about her coming home and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She's part of House of Black, though. She was TBS champ, and I'm like, would she come back and interfere? Because she's inherently a heel by gimmick, but, she's at the we cheer for you anyway, even though you're dark and weird kind of thing. So, but I'm like, would she interfere with that match, or would she interfere with the tag team match for Kings of the Black Throne? But it's already too late.
Why don't she just concern herself with the AEW's Women's Championship? But that match,
it's not on the card.
She's not on the card.
Yeah,
she's there on Wednesday nights to shake her titties for you for no reason.
Jack Perry versus
Daniel Garcia for the TNT Championship match. I think this is where I get my title change. I don't know much with the story. I saw there was a little bit of a vignette that happened with them this past week. What are you doing with Daniel Garcia? What are you doing with him?
Garcia.
You know what I'm saying?
This is him getting it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he's been sunned too much up to this point.
This is a Seth Rollins moment for me where I'm like, again, I'm not even that familiar with Daniel Garcia's work like that, but I know he's very popular and he can get down. It just seems like if you lose this, just go somewhere else.
Yeah, right.
At this point, just go somewhere else.
And then really also what's important is that, like, basically since the Death Riders, I guess you could say, have taken over the show, we ain't seen much of the Elite. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no Elite. I don't think no Elite help is coming. The Young Bucks ain't gonna be there in this match to interfere. I definitely don't see Okada doing that. So if we talking about all this booking of like Daniel Garcia, like climbing up the ladder and shit like that, like you said, for months, I agree wholeheartedly. What are we doing? He's due. I guess that's the right way to say it. Yeah.
Yeah. Ospreay, Fletcher. Is this a straight up match?
I mean, we're talking about the Don Callis family, so it's not going to be straight up. It's definitely going to have some Brian Cage and Lance Archer appearances or something. Definitely a screwdriver or two is going to be shown in this match, I think. And I think Kyle needs it. I mean, the Don Callis family just won, which that would be the counterpoint to me picking this, is because, like, just like WWE, it's like, all right, if the champion is beat down at the end on the closeout show, then that they're going to retain. Yeah. It's like the same thing here, where it's like, really, I feel like it's Will Ospreay versus the Don Callis family as a whole. But Kyle Fletcher is just the pinnacle of that for him. So him as a character, I think this can make Kyle Fletcher even better. And that's what he'll need if he's going to escape the, I guess, Don Callis family orbit. Not that he needs to right now, but he's talking about, proving how he's different than Ospreay and stuff like that. And if he's doing that, I think he's going to have to do that as a single star. And the best person you could do that to is your former tag team partner. So this is Kyle Fletcher's, which I know he wouldn't be the betting odds favorite, but especially if it does end up being straight up.
I lean towards your pick of Kyle Fletcher as well, mostly because this is a non-title match.
Mm-hmm.
So Ospreay losing really doesn't affect him too much. It just means that Kyle Fletcher will get a get back at Revolution or whatever the joint is on January 1st.
Yeah.
Fill me in on the Don Callis situation and Kyle Fletcher. So is he kind of like Wheeler Yuta in this situation where like he doesn't want to be a part of this, but it's kind of being
no, he's
forced into it?
And he's embracing it, and that's why he screwed Ospreay in the first place. Remember, because he screwed Ospreay in the international championship match. Yeah, and that's when he like shaved his head and he was like, "I'm gonna prove that I'm different than you, better than you, or whatever." So, I'm just making the point that like they have more history beyond that as Aussie Open, and or they were United Empire was their faction, and where Will Ospreay was like the single star, and Kyle Fletcher was one half of the tag team champion, the New Japan tag team champions, and they were United Empire altogether. And so that's where their history comes in. And I think once again on pay-per-view, Will Ospreay is established. We know, and this goes to the point of like, as I was saying before, they were already like tag team champions in a faction together. You know how much fucking chemistry these guys got. You know what I'm saying? I think this is gonna be a great match. This could be a Kyle Fletcher show stealer. Granted, you know, Will Ospreay's in his prime right now, but Kyle Fletcher showing, hey, I'm in my prime too. You know what I'm saying? So that's my logic to it.
I'll go Kyle. Like I said, I think this being a non-title match allows it for them to get back on New Year's Day. So Kyle Fletcher. Next match. I always fuck up on his name, so I'm gonna let you say
Konosuke.
Like it's not even the Konosuke, it's the Takeshita.
No. Takeshita. Yeah, Takeshita.
Yeah. For the international AEW International Championship.
Not even a chance.
Why?
That's a crazy curveball.
Why do you think that?
Well, because he just won. Not a chance. Not a chance. If we're talking about the Don Callis family interfering for Kyle Fletcher, they would definitely do it for Takeshita because he's the alpha, as Don Callis has been saying. He's the face of the group. You know what I mean? So I believe if anybody's going to get interfered with, it would be this one. And it would probably be Don Callis himself. Ricochet, does he have backup? Not really. Right? So
Ospreay.
He's got his own stuff to deal with. So
he just finished his match.
Well, sure, but assuming it's in that order, yeah, you're right. But yeah, I would still say, yeah, he's also. This would probably be. I ain't gonna lie. This is probably me not putting any thought into this, and like I already told you last week, like Takeshita is gonna be. He's already one of my favorite wrestlers at the moment, like in the world. I'd say he's probably like, I don't know what that PWI says, but him with this title and like, I mean, granted, he was already putting on phenomenal matches before, which is why he got this title reign, but I hope it's lengthy, and for it to just be one pay-per-view cycle, I'm not okay with that. That would be like Shinsuke and him, basically. And you know what I mean by that. Like,
so you're just thinking Takeshita clean win? Not clean win, but like he gets
clean as a heel. Clean as a heel, yeah. For sure. I mean, Ricochet is dynamic enough to, I mean, he still stands out on the roster. He does not have an issue with like, you know, hopefully getting his name out there, especially, I mean, he did just come in. So we are going to have to like look back at how long it is.
That's skewing so me. You're like, making a lot of good points, but that's the thing that's skewing me is because it's like Ricochet just came in. What are you going to do to make him not feel like he's getting the same run that he had in WWE? And it would seem like you you seem like he would win the title at this point. And what's also skewing my thought perspective is that I saw recently of him putting out in like an interview saying that like I want to prove that I could be the guy that can like put the company on his back.
Yeah, carry a division or something or the company. Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, like, but again, 1 month.
And that would be the title to do it though. The international championship is the hot potato championship also, but it's like the workers championship where Okada, it has a shorter lineage, by like 2 years or whatever. But there's only been 3 champions on that. I think they're really treating the Continental Championship as like the largest of the mid cards. At least that's the way that I read it right now.
Yeah. I think I think you swayed me. I think this gets us on the get back. I think Ricochet gets on the get back. If not at the January 1st pay-per-view, the one in LA.
Yeah.
Maybe there is a Ricochet Osprey team up to take down the Don Callis family type of situation. But yeah, the fact that he's only held the title for a month, it makes it hard for me to be like, yeah, that's going to require a title change. And then I'm going to go Moxley.
Oh, obviously. Yeah, definitely going Moxley. I already said it. He doesn't. Orange Cassidy doesn't have a chance.
I love Orange Cassidy, but like, yeah, I mean, again, a lot of the same thing. A lot of these people just got their titles.
Mm-hmm. That's why I was looking it up right now to see exactly when he won the title.
He won it in August.
Yeah,
in
October 12th at Wrestle Dream, he defeated in a 3-way match. So yeah, literally a month. That's where I'm like, for me, as I said, like he's one of my favorite wrestlers right now. We're giving him literally his shot. We just got that shot for him. So I don't know, 6 months, whatever it is, major pay-per-view, 4 months, whatever. We're gonna I need that reign from him though. I need at least 4 months. I need at least 4 months from Konosuke, in my opinion.
Oh, Konosuke won in October, and then Moxley won when?
I believe that was also
All Out.
That was also October.
Or that was Wrestle Dream as well.
Yeah, that was Wrestle Dream.
Yeah. So yeah.
This is his first defense
for Moxley, Konosuke, Private Party. You won your titles way too quickly. Oh wait, not way too quickly. You won them more recently.
More recently, yeah.
Yeah, and so it makes me hard to think that with practically a month away from the next pay-per-view, that you guys are gonna just lose those titles again. So
yeah, and they're the most recent out of everybody because they didn't even win their titles at Wrestle Dream. They won them on Dynamite, the week after that. So Jon Moxley is brand new. That's Wrestle Dream. Konosuke is Wrestle Dream, and yeah, the Private Party is like the week after or like 2 weeks after that. So
yeah.
But okay. Jack Perry's held it for a bit though.
I think that's a good prediction card. We only have 2 differences: MJF, Roderick Strong. I got Roderick. I have Mercedes retaining. You have Chris Statlander becoming new champ. Yeah. And then, those are the 2 differences that we have on our card. So either end up with a tie or
don't we have a tie on our record already? I thought we had a tie on him.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. It's probably. I gotta make sure we are like that it's updated correctly.
There we go.
I'm not sure if it's 1-7-1 or if it's 1-6-1, but we can go back and look at the record. We also need to figure out when are we gonna like restart the season. Does that restart at the beginning of the year, or do we go into WrestleMania?
I guess Mania, right? That's like that is New Year's. That's New Year's Day for
or or it could be on the 1-year anniversary of the show, which is like July.
1-year anniversary of which show?
Nigga, this show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. That's nice.
So you're on.
I was about to say, nigga, Raw has been going forever. We need 1-year anniversary. Like, no, that's a good shout right there. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we started with episode 1. Yeah, we'll do that with July. I like that. What's that? SummerSlam?
Before SummerSlam. It's in between SummerSlam and Money in the Bank.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good one.
Whatever pay-per-view they do the Owen Hart Classic on for AEW.
AEW, yeah. Alrighty. Right. Perfect round 20.
Into these champions.
Oh yeah. I had.
This is the longest episode we've had to date. So
no, for sure. And I high key and I held back on another champion of the week too. Because I was like, I could say this anytime. Yeah. But I'm gonna go with my first one, the funny one. I did not mention this in the during SmackDown, but you know, we did have like the women's War Games pull apart again. Man, we got the I Am Vengeance title, you know, Robert Pattinson Batman going to Rhea Ripley for this. Boy, tell me, with her black hair, tell me that ain't the cow. Like, tell me she's not the Dark Knight right now, yo.
I thought it was clear. I thought it was a clear face mask. I did not.
It was clear. It was clear on. It was clear on Monday, and yo.
Oh, this was last night. This is
last night. That's SmackDown. She came out with a black mask. That's where I was like, yo, why did you turn into? She went from dashing Cody Rhodes to Batman, and I was like, all right, cool, but
I'm Batman.
You got a whole beak on this shit, boy. Oh, looking for Riddler head ass, ain't you real? God damn.
Yeah, anyway, that's hilarious.
That's the I Am Vengeance title.
That's great.
Going to Rhea Ripley.
Mine is pretty simple. I'll keep it short, but mine is the Kendrick Lamar. Somebody whacked out my mural title belt to Kevin Owens promo towards Cody, because again, like, for Cody to come out and say everything that he said about Kevin Owens' career and blame it on him and stuff like that, it's like, bruh, I'm glad Kevin came back and said what he said to Cody, because you ain't gonna come on here and talk shit about me, Mister. I'm only here because my daddy is Dusty Rhodes.
Woo, the smoke.
Fuck out of here, nigga. Like Kevin said, I've been here since I was an 11-year-old little fan. I ain't have no parental guidance here. I didn't have a big brother that was already in the wrestling industry. I had to work my ass off from the horror streets of fucking Canada.
French Canada. From Montreal or whatever.
You know what I'm saying?
French speaking.
He tried to go to the Heart Dungeon family. Them shits was closed 10 years ago. Just because they was done. Come on now. I'm glad Kevin came out and, you know, timeliness, it worked out well. No one's going to disrespect Kevin. Kevin did way too much, both as an on-screen character and an off-screen character. For Cody to talk on his high horse like Joffrey Baratheon, like this man talking about he has struggle. Fuck out of here, Cody. Like, just like somebody whacked out Kevin Owens' mural and it was Cody Rhodes. And Kevin is coming for that smoke. So, shout out Kevin Owens. You get to Kendrick Lamar. Somebody whacked out my mural title belt.
I like it. This was my double champion of the week. First time ever, because it just goes to the whole scene. But I know I could come up with something better than this, but the Jason Voorhees title for Mass Murder and the CSI Miami opening pun titles are going to, respectively, WWE's Parking Lot and Jade Cargill. Because how many bodies have we seen pile up in the parking lot? Like mystery deaths. Like, you
just
would think
from
everybody
June, just from Ricochet that happened in June till now. It's like, okay, can y'all just get extra security in the parking lot?
I'm saying we ain't got no security cameras. Like, you should have cameras at every entrance and exit of the parking lot going into the stadium.
When The Rock jumped Cody in the parking lot.
Exactly. Like, if you're a WWE talent, you need to find a tunnel. You need to somehow find a way to work your job. Once you're inside the building, inside the stadium, just stay in the stadium. Like, don't go close to entrance paths or anything close to the parking lot, which leads me to the CSI Miami opening pun, because it was so hilarious just the way that Jade was splayed on top of the car that I immediately put my detective hat on, because I'm like, yo, how in the hell, like you were saying, you were getting into it. You're like top suspects and shit. I like Naomi. I didn't even think about that, but I'm like, who is strong enough? Because also, this is not in the middle of the parking lot. Jade got knocked through like the gate of like a delivery, like the delivery garage doors that slide up. She was knocked through one of those because there's signs of struggle on her face, but no damage to the side of the car. We see only the impact from behind her head, which explains why she's knocked out. So somebody was close enough to her to knock her through this. So I'm like, okay, who could actually? I didn't notice the marks on the face until you said something, but I was like, who's close enough to like knock her, like push her through this and knock her unconscious? And then you say suspect number 2, Naomi. I'm like, dang, okay, well that fits the fucking bill right there. I'm thinking it could just be Charlotte, like viciously, who could just square up with her. But also, it was mostly just funny because I wanted to come up with a champion name about like a chalk outline, the way she was dead. I wanted to use the Family Guy one when he, falls down the stairs, but I'm like, that's too overused. So then I thought of the CSI Miami opening pun. When he comes to the site, looks like this power buff girl just turned into a power snuffed girl. And then hit the music.
That's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, the pun that I had was, looks like this power buff girl just turned into a power snuffed girl. Oh, and then the song starts. I was like, all right, we're investigating the murder of Jade Cargill now. That's the title. But yeah. And I held back from another champion too, but that's it. That's it for me. That's a double champion from one segment that I just thought was hilarious. But
hey, it was a great show. Like I said, it leaves some questions. I think we might have the obvious answer, but it'll be curious to see how it plays out if it's not the obvious answer.
Right.
I'd be interested if it was Naomi. That's it, man. Like, what are you doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? But we know what we are doing right now, Moody. We are done with this show.
Absolutely. The longest one ever. I'm sweating and
3
shit
hours
from like the effort. Like, geez. Like, we're working hard over here.
That's what happens when Kendrick just randomly drops an album and we spend 15 minutes talking about this goddamn album. But nonetheless, that is it for this week's episode of the Wrestling Rehab Podcast. Moody, where can they find us?
Find us on TikTok, Instagram. Send us an email at thewrestlingreup@gmail.com. All of our handles are at the Wrestling Reup, and also we'll be coming to Blue Sky and Twitch soon as well. That's where you'll find us.
Yeah. So until next time, we'll catch y'all for episode 21 of the Wrestling Rehab Podcast with
Legal to Drink
gear reviews and seeing if I actually got another dub or am I back in the loss column. We'll determine what happens. And I think next week is also Survivor Series. So from one pop-up show to another pop-up show. We'll have our preview and
Thanksgiving weekend
for that as that next week. So another busy week of wrestling. We'll try to keep it under 3 hours. Until next time, peace.
Out of here.